All right, what is going on, ladies and gents? We are live. Let's get a quick audio visual check here in the live chat. Yeah. Are we live? What's going on? We're good? Let's get a couple let's get the live chat going here. Just let me know if everything's looking good on your side, guys. If you can hear me okay and everything. We do have a little bit of volatility right here. In crypto. Bitcoin is currently pushing 115. We just broke above 115k. And we are rising up to 117k resistance. So that's pretty cool. That's definitely good. Volume's a little bit low. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about volume being low. Welcome to the live stream, everyone. Do me a favor, smash up those likes as you are coming in. I'm just kind of getting myself situated a little bit here. Because I got a messy desk. I've been playing some Battlefield. I gotta move some shit off my desk. But what's up, ladies and gents? $115,500 for Bitcoin right now. Basically completely erasing everything that happened. So we're gonna be breaking that down, all of that in this live stream here. We got Stuart Richardson from sunny Scotland. Beautiful. Beautiful. Welcome to the live stream, everyone. As you are coming in, do me a favor and smash up those likes just so we can kick this thing off. Get the notifications pushed out to everybody, all that good stuff. You know how it works. Smash them up if you haven't done so already. Let's get this thing above 50 just to start this live stream off. Do we still have resistances and all after those liquidations? Well, I mean, yeah, we do still have resistance. You know, the question really is, you know, how effective will that resistance be at sending the market lower? And you know, I mean, it's probably still going to have some effect. Let's be honest, right? Like, it's not like resistance just disappeared, but Battlefield 6 team deathmatch graphs are more tragic than crypto yesterday, are they? I don't know, man. Hi from grey and miserable Hemel Hempstead. Yeah, the UK is entering that time of year where everything's starting to get a little bit shit again. The illusion of British summer is gone, and you kind of just have to pop the kettle on, don't you? and start getting ready for winter. But welcome to the stream, everyone. We got a tiny pullback on Bitcoin right now. We're going to be watching all this live and breaking down what we're seeing here. We did actually upload a video quite recently. So if you haven't seen that, the thumbnail says it's time. What is it time for? It might be time to break resistance here, ladies and gents. We're going to watch that in this live stream. I mean, we might very well hit, you know, a pretty important level of resistance right here live on this stream. So definitely an interesting time. Hey, how's the stream? Are we having connection issues? Because I'm seeing connection issues on my side. Let me know how stable the stream is for you guys. And once again, if you haven't done so already, help me kickstart this live stream, get it pushed out to everybody by smashing up those likes. If you haven't done so already, then please go ahead and do that now. If you don't mind. If you don't want to, of course, that's totally fine. I gotta figure out where I'm putting everything on my desk. I got so many things going off right now, but I mean, crypto's the important one here. We have gone through this resistance line that I had drawn out. Let's take a look at what this line means for the market. I mean, it's a small level. I can keep this line here. I don't mind having this line here, but you know, that's a minor level of resistance that Bitcoin did just pass. Now, it's more important than that because we were finding resistance here. So the fact that we found resistance here and then we passed above this resistance, you know, this is the reason we're live right now. You know, it is definitely a good sign for the very, very, very short-term trend for Bitcoin here. So we're just going to be kind of watching this throughout this live stream today. and then continuing to break down the important questions and topics in the crypto space right now. So, ladies and gents, welcome everybody to the live stream. Let's light the chat up. Tell me how we're feeling today. Tell me where in the world we're watching from today. We need a degen cam and a treadmill cam. Treadmill cam would be nice, wouldn't it? That would definitely help hold me accountable here. I really should have the treadmill for the stream. It's literally just the fact that I only have one tripod. And it's such an inconvenience to move it because I gotta balance everything again. But honestly, I'm saying this out loud. I think I should just buy a second tripod. Like, I think it would just be a lot better if I just literally moved my camera every time. I think you know what? I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. One sec. Let me write that down. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do to fix this so that we can do that more often. Go multi-camera. That's what I'd like to do. I'd like to go multi-camera here, and I think it's possible. So yeah, that's gonna require some upgrades in the setup. But ladies and gents, welcome back to another live stream here. If you are just tuning in, smash up those likes. As you are coming in here, help me kickstart this live stream. Thank you all very much for tuning in today. Bitcoin is sitting at $115,100, and the reason that we're live streaming right now is because we did have this little bit of resistance here at about 114.6. And it was basically, as soon as we kind of really broke this resistance level with conviction, Bitcoin started flying. So that's why we're live right now. I think that we've got a pretty reasonable chance at actually hitting resistance. Only slightly overhead from here. It's not particularly far away. It's only a 1.5% price move here, and the price has been moving pretty quickly. So if we're able to continue to sustain this, we are going to see Bitcoin hitting resistance right here on this live stream. We are approaching essentially quite polarized price levels, and this is honestly kind of the most important test for Bitcoin so far. It's absolutely phenomenal that, again, depending on which exchange you're using, it is phenomenal that we saw a 107 bounce for Bitcoin. That's a really good sign of strength, and I'm definitely not taking it lightly, because bouncing off essentially what is a macro support level is always going to be a strong sign of the strength in this market. But getting up to a resistance level, which is what we're kind of starting to do here live right now, that's going to put us in a totally different position, because we can really see, the bulls really showed up and defended important levels and bought prices back up to where they were before the, leverage washout. But hitting resistance is going to really show us just how much strength the bulls actually have. Because, if we just slice through this shit, like a hot knife through butter, dude, like, we're headed straight back up to 120 at that point, and we made pretty quick work of this range last time. The last time we hit this range, we didn't really struggle too much. We just kind of penetrated straight through it. We even penetrated straight through 120. None of it was particularly problematic. It did take, 13 hours from the first hit. But I guess what we're getting at here is that, these resistance levels up ahead, I'm not expecting them to be super strong. I'm not expecting them to be a massive problem for Bitcoin. We are going to see stock market, pre-market trading happening again in a number of hours, like 10 hours now probably. What is this? 11 hours now. So, obviously that's quite far away for us to be streaming at the moment. But, I did still want to take a look at this, because it definitely, look at some of these bounces. Here's Solana at 197 right now. Solana BTC just creeped above 0017 BTC per token. XRP is, I don't want to say it's flying, but it's definitely looking pretty decent. So there's a couple of pretty cool kind of developments right here in the market right now. So that's super cool. Thank you for smashing up those likes, ladies and gents, pushing us above 50. Let's see if we can hit 100. That shouldn't be too hard right now. If you haven't already smashed them up, definitely do that now. And yeah, like I said, just drop in the live chat. Where in the world are you watching from? I'd love to find out. We're going to go through the live chat here in just a second. I'm just going to get these charts organized again, so that we can really kind of monitor what Bitcoin does here while I'm looking at the live chat. So that's the degen cam on the right-hand side there. That's the 1 minute time frame. We're going to be keeping a close eye on that. We are forming a little bit of a pullback right now, but I can totally see this just carrying on up. Maybe it needs a little bit of nasty price action first, but I can totally see that happening. So let's see what we got in the live chat today. Welcome to the live stream, everyone. A lot of familiar names. I love seeing that. Shout out to Gunleaf, Hajim, Stuart Richardson. What's going on, ladies and gents? Too many names here. I'm not saying all the names, but forgive me if I didn't say yours. What's up, James? Welcome to the live stream. Good to see you on these so many live streams this one weekend. Hell yeah, no, absolutely. We're here. We're here. We're live. We're here during this volatility. I think this is an important potential, live stream. We'll see what happens here. It could go slow. We got Scottsdale, Arizona, DC. What's going on? How is it living in DC after the National Guard or whoever Trump put in? Is it actually? I've been hearing good things. I've been hearing that it's a nicer. It's behaving a little bit more like a capital city should be. Is that true, or is it just tyrannical nonsense? What is it? Is it fascism or is it nice? What's up, Jacob? Man, I just finished a video. How's it going, guys? Yeah, what's up, mate? Welcome to the live stream. Yeah, we did just put out a very important video, and honestly, I'm totally cool with it if you guys want to go ahead and watch this video first and come back to the live stream, because this one was pretty important. 26 minutes. It was a pretty deep dive. We did a very deep dive here a couple of days ago, and I would highly recommend everybody watch this video as well. And it's totally fine to just pause the live stream, watch these videos on 2x playback speed, and then come right back here. In fact, I'd probably say that's a good thing to do. Jacob, yeah, you've already seen it, and he's saying that it's a good video. And I would agree with Jacob, actually. I would agree. It is a good video. So check it out. Check this one out. I'd say this one's quite important. I'd say this one's also very, very important. If you've missed this one, this was only published about an hour or two ago. So definitely make sure you don't miss out on that one. Let's see. We got Brooklyn, Chicago, Tokyo, Serbia. Hell yeah, cool to see Tokyo in here. We got Vegas. This could be the time for me to get richer. Honestly, I think this is a great time for all of us to get a lot richer in crypto. I mean, I don't know. I can't see the future, but, I mean, I was very bullish before this leverage washout, but I cannot explain to you how much more bullish this shit made me. Like, I'm seeing a massive leverage washout that's effectively resetting the market, and I'm seeing fucking everybody and their grandmother fading it and telling me that actually, Capo is right, and we're headed into a perpetual 15-year bear market. So I'm not buying it, to be honest. I'm not buying it. James, I'm in a short, so you can thank me for the pump. Hell yeah, dude. Well, thank you very much for taking one for the team. Thank you very, very much. Nicholas says it's time to be greedy, and I'm going to go ahead and press agree on that one. I am. I've been picking up some coins today. Been buying a little bit. I'm not going crazy. I'm not buying too quickly. I would love to see better prices. I don't know if we're going to get them, but I would love to see better prices. Devine says DC is pretty much the same old. National Guard deployed to protect federal buildings only. Like all cities, there are better places and there are not so good areas. Yeah, fair enough. I like DC. I've been there a couple of times. Very, very nice city, I mean, I didn't really, sense all the pedophilia in the air and stuff like that. But, I mean, maybe that just means they did a great job at kind of keeping the surface level of the city looking good. What's up, Paradox Trade from Tehran? What's going on, Tehran? Hope you guys are doing well over there. Hey, Sammy, would love your thoughts on BTC USD Bitstamp chart versus Binance chart. Love the analysis as always. Well, I mean, we can look at that, but, largely there's going to be some variations, and I'm not too worried about it. We can go ahead and take a look at BTC on the Binance chart, though. Let's see. I mean, it's got the same wick as well, hasn't it? I think it did recover a lot higher than other exchanges, but I'm not really too worried about that. I don't think that's particularly important at all, to be honest. Would you buy alts today or wait until tomorrow? It's going to be my last buy. I mean, I don't know about you, dude, but I bought a little bit, like I said, I mean, I'm not in a rush. I'm not looking to, go too crazy with this at all. I'm just picking up a little bit because the prices look good. I mean, the prices are better than they were a few days ago. What do you want me to say? You know what I mean? I didn't buy any of the knives. I was live while those drops were happening. So, I mean, I wish I could have taken advantage of it, but, I would rather just kind of live stream if I'm live streaming instead of trying to trade live. What zones do we need to overtake to have this pump mean anything? Yeah, that's the most important question here, dude. And, by the way, so this Binance chart, whatever, I'm not that interested in it. The Bitstamp chart right here, didn't hit a low. I mean, whatever. They're minor variations, and reading into this, I think, is completely unproductive. I don't think it really tells us anything at all. But, you know, John, in response to your question here, I mean, the key level is going to be 117. This is our macro resistance level. It's been a problem. This level has been a problem for Bitcoin, you know, since we entered this range after July. We were consistently finding, you know, pretty reliable support here. And then we were consistently finding resistance here too. Now, like I said, the last time that we broke this level, neither of these levels, neither 117 nor 120, neither of these levels were a problem. And Bitcoin pretty much just sliced straight through them, which is fantastic. So, you know, and I think that the chance of that happening here is pretty real. I mean, you know, this kind of recovery, this is what I'm saying, like this recovery is just not cutting it for me to tell me that, you know, bears are kind of in charge right now. I mean, we really got to see, because if we get this, you know, if we get a big rejection off 117 right here, then, you know, this is going to turn into a really big problem for Bitcoin, potentially. It does definitely, temporarily at least, put the ball back in the courts of the bears. And if we are seeing the ball back in the courts of the bears, then, you know, we could totally see a drop back down to 107 or lower. But again, I mean, there's support levels in between that the market might end up trying using to defend some of these support levels. So I'm not even that worried. You know, on these larger time frames, we did fall squarely into momentum support, which is pretty damn reliable in my experience. So I actually quite like that. Daily time frame, we're definitely going to start seeing resistance. 1 hour, it's probably already flipped into, yeah, it's flipped into support now, which is fantastic. So yeah, it looks like we're just forming a little bit of a reaction rally right now. We got Bitcoin just chilling here, consolidating on the side. This is on the 1 minute time frame, so we're definitely going to look to see what happens here. We got Lee Bradley saying, love you, missing Kirby, you keep around, we need real stuff, not the BS, thankful for yourself. Dude, thank you very much. That's a very, 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 very nice comment of yours. I feel honored anytime anybody puts me in the same sentence as Crypto Kirby. I don't think I'm that good, but yeah, he is fantastic. Miss him too. Hopefully he comes back. Thank you, Paddy. You're very, very nice. Lovely, lovely viewers today. Thank you all very, very much. If you are enjoying the stream so far, smash up those likes. Let's get this thing above 100 likes right here. Bitcoin is pushing a tiny, tiny, tiny bit right now. We just got to see if any of these pumps materialize. Really, we got to sweep this local high at 115.5. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on this to see how that does end up playing out. And meanwhile, I think we'll probably be looking at some altcoin suggestions and a couple other things like that. So if we do have any specific kind of requests for charts and stuff like that, any specific thoughts on the market, please do drop them in the live chat. We'll definitely be going through those as well. What's up, Frank from San Jose, California? What's going on? Yeah, 116 to 120k is going to be kind of the important range. So 116 from about, you know, like, I call it like 116.5. There is a pump right here. Let's see what this pump ends up doing. We are forming a tiny, tiny pump right here. We got a question about Zcash. Yeah, let's take a look at that, because, you know, Zcash looks pretty damn decent, I think, overall. Which exchange are we going for? Let's just go for the crypto chart. And, yeah, I mean, Zcash, like, almost didn't even remember to participate in any of the price action. Which I think makes it, honestly, like, a quite incredible potential hold in this market. I think it's risky, and because, you know, it's a privacy coin, and I don't see privacy coins doing well if they gain traction here. I think that instead we're probably going to see some, you know, regulatory action that would kind of stifle the potential growth of these coins. But I mean, as far as speculation, it does look fantastic. You know, maybe it's just as simple as kind of get in and ride a, you know, 25-30% pump and then, you know, take your money out. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of different ways to play this stuff, but I'm a big fan of kind of securing profits instead of just sitting on them and taking screenshots instead. You know, it's a pretty important distinction for me there. But yeah, welcome to the stream, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. If you are just tuning in, then we are looking at Bitcoin right now because we did get this breakout above 115. It did result in some slightly kind of explosive price action here, and that does put us very close to our next band of resistance, which does start in the $116,000 price range. So we're very, very close to it. It's just a case of seeing if this price action that we have here does end up materializing into anything. Unfortunately, we had a very, very tiny move that is getting retraced right now, so we'll have to see how that continues to work out. But we'll definitely keep an eye on all this. And I want to go ahead and take a look at just CoinMarketCap as well and see if CoinMarketCap tells us anything about, what this market's looking like today. Open the Ichimoku on the 2-day. Let's take a look. So let's go back to Bitcoin here. So if we take a look at this on the 2-day, throw the Ichimoku cloud on. This was a request from the viewer. And yeah, it does look pretty damn fantastic. Yeah, it does look nice. Let's see how this was playing out for Bitcoin historically. Yeah, because it doesn't look like the best time frame for the Ichimoku cloud historically. It looks pretty damn decent. Not too different from the 1-day, to be honest. It does seem to be fairly reliable enough to look at least, to talk about. Definitely been more reliable this bull market, which makes sense because it basically tells me that, this bull market has slowed things down a little bit. So I can totally see that happening on the daily here. Yeah, lots more penetrations of these levels. So, no, yeah, I think 2-day Ichimoku cloud definitely is cooking something here, and it does continue to show us a lot of space to just drop down a little bit lower. And we'd still be quite far away from that 200-week moving average here. So that's pretty cool too. Let's see what this looks like if it's the 50-week moving average. No, this is not the 200-week. My bad. This is the 200 SMA on the 2-day. So this is the 400-day moving average. I don't even know. But yeah, just tiny little reset here on Bitcoin. Nothing too crazy going on for BTC right now. So, I mean, if this thing does end up dropping back down, we really just kind of have to watch this tiny level here at 114.6. As long as we don't drop below this level, we're probably good. If we do drop below this level, then that's probably going to mark an end to this, kind of temporary rally that Bitcoin's kind of doing right now. And it's probably going to, result in a little bit of a drop here. But here, let's take a look at CMC. And see what we're looking at here. Fear and Greed is showing us a reading of 31 apparently. Huh? That's interesting. We'll take a look at that. Go ahead and refresh this page. Yeah, we got a reading of 24 right now, so it looks like they're using a different Fear and Greed index. That's totally cool. That's probably gonna rebound a little bit today, to be fair. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that to see how this ends up continuing to play out. Where's the other figures? They've moved a bunch of shit. I'm getting too old for this website, man. That's how I feel. I'm not even joking. That's how I feel. Because they've just moved around so much stuff. But Bitcoin still sitting at a $2.3 trillion market cap. Ethereum sitting at 500 billion. So it's actually not doing too bad. It's going to be about 20, 23, 22% of Bitcoin size. Actually, for Ethereum's valuation, which is pretty interesting. We got Binance Coin. About 10% of the size of Bitcoin, let's say, call it more like 7% of the size of Bitcoin here. So Binance Coin pretty damn massive as well, which is pretty cool to see. And then we have Tether, which we're not interested in, and then XRP. All these valuations still in pretty decent levels. I mean, nothing here is particularly concerning to me. And these 7-day charts don't even look crazy, like at all. They don't look crazy to me, so that's pretty cool as well. Where is Zcash as well, by the way? Zcash doesn't even see. Oh, there it is. It's ranked 28. It's got a market cap of 4.3 billion. So tons of room to grow if privacy coins will be a narrative, and I can definitely see that happening. I can definitely see that. We have a little bit of a kind of privacy coin narrative switch basically in this market here, so that would be pretty cool. Ladies and gents, we're so close to 100 likes. Smash them up so far. I mean, if you haven't done so already, definitely smash them up now. If you haven't done so already, that'd be absolutely sick. Push this thing above 100 likes here. Bitcoin did just test the downside very, very briefly here, but we're still sideways, ladies and gents, so we'll see how this does end up breaking. We have tested the upside now, so usually that does mean we need to test the downside, and we've kind of done that already. I don't know if this is enough or if we need to do more than that, and to be honest, I don't want to get too caught up on this 1 minute time frame anyway. Link had huge news. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, we'll take a look at that as well. 104, 108 likes. Yeah, hell yeah, guys. Thank you all very much for smashing them up. Let's take a look at Cointelegraph here. I want to see what they have to say about this. Let's go to refresh the page, see if there's anything new on here, because I want like a kind of broad article that kind of really talks about everything going on, but it looks like Here, yeah, this is probably what we want to read. This 7 hours ago article. So let's see what we got here. So today in crypto, Bitcoin is retesting the golden cross, a bullish pattern that preceded past parabolic rallies. Crypto traders' typical rationalization behavior by pointing to Trump's tariff as the reason for the market dump. Meanwhile, Zcash recovers to pre-crash highs. Yeah, Zcash, like I said, did not even participate in the drop. It just was not interested, which I think is kind of hilarious. Almost a little bit hard to believe, frankly, but it is what it is. In a Sunday post on X, the analyst shared a chart noting that Bitcoin's previous golden crosses led to gains of 2,200% and so on and so forth. With Bitcoin currently hovering near 110k, he suggested that holding above the level could ignite another parabolic wave. So that's going to be the golden cross here. Not sure exactly which golden cross we're actually even talking about here because we seem to have so many these days. Oh, it's right here. So 50-day and 200-day. Okay, so it's the standard golden cross here. And we got, yeah, so we got the actual golden cross here. And then, oh, you can't see this because of my camera. Let's hide the camera. We got the actual golden cross here, and we are back testing it now. So, I mean, back testing it isn't actually a good thing in my experience. Seems like we did do it a couple of times, but, you know, you don't really want to come too close to those levels. So I think if we are looking at that as a kind of side for macro price action, then you're definitely going to want to see some quick recoveries to kind of send the market to a better place again. But, you know, I think what's worth noting about analysis like this is, you know, we're not judging this based on, you know, a super micro time frame. Not even really the daily time frame, frankly. You know, I think it's very important to look at these kind of things on larger time frames, because we can totally, you know, wick below these levels or even trade below these levels for a week or whatever the case may be. It's more about if we have a kind of sustained period of essentially performing badly in light of you know, dropping below a golden cross. That would be pretty bad, you know. But if it's pretty much just isolated to, you know, a week or 2 weeks or 5% below these levels or whatever the case may be, that's not going to be enough to shake me. But, you know, if we are looking at something more significant than that, you know, something that, you know, keeps us below those levels for longer, let's say, you know, a couple of weeks, or, you know, a combination of a long period of time under these bullish retests, and in addition to that, also, you know, kind of steeper price drops, and that would kind of seal it for us. So that's definitely something that we'll be watching out for. Altcoins shed as much as 95% of their value on Friday following a statement from Trump. The crash represents the most rapid and severe crypto liquidation event in the history of the sector, and is a reminder of the risks of leverage trading. You know, this is something interesting, because I've worked with a lot of people that trade on leverage, and, you know, a lot of these people, they wanna do things like 2x long-term leverage plays, you know, where it's like, hey, you know, I want to hold X coin in spot, I may as well just hold it in 2x leverage instead, you know, and I can maximize my gains. And I could totally see why people say this on paper. But I'll tell you what, ladies and gents, every time someone said this to me, I've always just had to say, look, like, you know, I understand where you're coming from. You get to double your exposure without necessarily taking on much more risk. But it's actually not correct. You know, you're always taking more risk if you're trading on leverage, because you can get leverage wipeouts, and they will affect you even if you're sensible and trading on 2x leverage. And that's unfortunately the hit that a lot of people got. You know, a lot of people weren't actually being particularly like degenerate traders, at least they would have thought. But really what I've always said to people in these positions is, look, like, I understand that you want to kind of maximize your exposure and get your best out of this market. But you know, you're kind of imagining essentially that these crypto markets are safe, you know, and they're not. And so, you know, my philosophy, if I'm taking trades, actually is a lot more like, well, hey, you know, I want to see these coins, you know, in spot holdings instead, you know, because with spot holdings, you don't hold that risk. And then with, you know, those kind of, you know, literally the leverage trades, I mean, you want to use those tools to get in and out of the market, you know, relatively quickly. You know, like, having a position open isn't a good thing in my books, you know. I mean, it's good if it's running and your entry is fucking, you know, like 2% of the current price or whatever, you know, like where you got a phenomenal entry, you just keep on letting that thing run and run and run and run and run, and that's fantastic. But, you know, if you're doing that sensibly, then realistically, I mean, you know, the first 30% gain you see in the trade, the first 50% gain, the first 100% gain that you see, that's where you want to be taking out, you know, the large sum of your money and putting it back into, you know, a spot holding or even in dollars or whatever. And then, you know, if you really think that your trade is going to run, you know, we're not trying to do this for lottery tickets. We genuinely want, you know, wealth that sticks with us over the long period of time. And in order to, you know, kind of realistically get that, we need to be protecting our capital, okay? And one of the best ways to do that is to have the philosophy that says, look, if I am keeping a leverage trade open for a long period of time, it should only be capital that I'm very willing to lose entirely. You know, and that's the ethos with any trade in this space, obviously. But, you know, it's so important if leverage is being applied as well, because leverage wipeouts do happen. And it's one of those things where, unfortunately, you know, for most people, and by the way, if you are finding this live stream useful or enjoyable so far, definitely smash up those likes. You know, unfortunately, one of the things that we are seeing here, just putting Bitcoin back up on the chart here, we did see a tiny drop here on Bitcoin, taking it down toward 114,800, 900 here, and we are seeing a recovery now. So we are defending the downside here on this super short-term time frame as well. Did I survive getting liquidated? I didn't get liquidated, dude. I don't do stuff like that these days. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's fucking energy of the past. And you need to move past these kind of beginner mistakes pretty quickly. And this is what I'm saying, is that, you know, a lot of people were managing, I mean, there was that fucking Ukrainian dude, you know, and apparently he lost money for Ukrainian military intelligence, so he fucking offed himself. I don't know if the stories are real, but, you know, first of all, that's fucking crazy. But second of all, I mean, you know, he wasn't necessarily trading in a particularly irresponsible way, at least he thought. But in my opinion, the irresponsible thing for all of these people that kind of screwed themselves in the market was that, you know, they thought that you can just kind of trade crypto on leverage without consequences and that you can do it for the long term. You thought I lost 6 figures? I damn well did lose 6 figures. I probably lost, you know, quite a lot. You know, I don't actually know, and I don't check these days either because it's not important. My losses were on spot holdings. You know, and that's because obviously when you have enough spot holdings, right, even if they drop by 10%, that's still going to be a 6-figure loss. And actually they dropped by a lot more than 10% at their lows. So, you know, that's how I lost money, you know, but it wasn't because I had an irresponsible trade or anything like that. You know, I mean, frankly, I haven't seen any reasonable trades, you know, in the last few days or whatever. So yeah, there was nothing to do. But, you know, I like I said, I think this comes from just honestly a broken philosophy that says, hey, you know, like I just want to maximize my gains and take low leverage, you know, longs and keep them holded for a long, you know, keep them held for a long time. I mean, you know, I get it on paper. These seem like very reasonable ideas. A lot of people would, you know, very reasonably want to do them. But, you know, like you must not know what crypto is if you feel so lax, you know, to be able to do stuff like that. I don't think that, you know, that's realistically where we are in this market ever. I don't think we've ever been in a place where that was safe to do, you know, and that's why I never liked it. That's why I always said, look, if you want to sit in a 2x, you know, trade and just kind of hold it spot, like maybe you'd be better off literally just holding more of the same coin spot, you know, and if those gains aren't good enough for you, then honestly, I got to start asking, like, what are you even aiming for? You know what I mean? Like, if you get a good coin and you hold that shit spot, like, you know, in a crypto bull market, you can reasonably see a 2, 3, 4, 5x gain. You know, are you saying you need to multiply that too? I mean, it just almost sounds a little bit too aggressive for me. I like to do things with my money that feels super safe, where I'm pretty sure I'm going to make money off it every single time I do it. And a big part of that, like I said, is making sure that I'm not letting that rug get swept from under my feet. You know what I mean? And that's going to happen in crypto. It's not, like I said, it's not the last time we're going to get an event like this. This is actually quite typical. Bringing it back to the 1-minute chart here on Bitcoin, we are seeing just interesting fighting going on between bulls and bears right now. We're still continuing to form this kind of slow descending channel to the downside here, so it does still look like it could be, you know, looking to get a bit of a recovery at some point here. So we'll definitely be watching that to see how that continues to play out here in this market. And really, like I said, I think the main thing to be monitoring in this live stream is going to be the resistance up ahead at about 116, 117 here. So we're going to be watching that as a kind of primary thing for this live stream, see if we can get up there. And like I said, if we do end up kind of losing footing here, then we might have to kind of revisit some of the lower levels in this consolidation that we've been doing here. So, you know, that's fine too. That's not, you know, particularly problematic anyway. Some people also got liquidated because they used limit order stop loss. Well, and that's the thing, is like, limit order stop losses are great, and I love them, but again, like you're if markets do go, I mean, stop market orders are not great either. I mean, if you get a massive liquidity crunch, you could literally have slippage of upwards of like 10%, 20%, like you can get crazy slippage too. So, there really is no way to protect yourself from something like what happened 2 days ago. Really, all you can do realistically is limit how much you use leverage, limit your exposure to leverage products. When you use them, get in and get out quickly kind of thing. That's kind of, one of the real, it's kind of the only way to do this safely, because if you've always got that exposure, it's just a ticking time bomb until something goes wrong, right? I mean, now I think we got our bad luck out of the way. I don't think we're going to see something like that again for some time. It's probably going to take quite a while until these markets get into a, over leveraged place again. Probably not too long, maybe a couple of weeks, but because of that, the more time you've got those positions open, the more time you're under threat, basically. So I think that's really, 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 really important. Sham says, watching events like this is almost like watching the general election votes coming in live. Yeah, it does feel like that, doesn't it? I definitely agree with you on that. It does feel like that a little bit. But here's Bitcoin continuing to push a tiny bit lower here. So let's see what ends up happening with this fight between the bull and the bears. This is very interesting to see, because we're getting a little bit of lackluster follow through here. Now, granted, the real breakout kind of only started, back here. So it has been, 40 minutes only. I mean, we could totally do something with this in the next hour or two. So, this is not discouraging, but the fact that we are dropping down and defending these moves does tell me that if, this pressure, the selling pressure eases off a little bit, we could be looking at a bit of a rocket ship candle, which I would definitely love to see, especially now that we have cleared some of that kind of interim resistance that we did have as well. So, ladies and gents, yeah, welcome to the live stream. Good to see so many people in here again. Once again, if you are enjoying this stream, smash up those likes. Let's get this thing above 150. I know we can do that. We're pretty close. Okay, so we got a really interesting comment here from Celinda Anderson saying, this kind of thing is no different than thievery. How can they be allowed to liquidate people with stops in place? So let's clear a couple things up here. Now, the first thing I want to say is, look, crypto exchanges are still pretty shady overall. I'd say all exchanges, all brokers, typically, there's going to be some level of shadiness going. Not all, not even close, but, a lot. Like, enough to be a problem, and especially in crypto. We still have these problems in crypto, and they might not go for some time. But what we had on Friday wasn't exchanges, fucking us. It was... from my read of this, and I really do understand the mechanics of this in the back end quite well, having done this for so long. Essentially what we had was, a situation where the market did need to wash out leverage, and it needed to wash out leverage not for a couple of days or even for a couple of weeks, but more so for a number of months. It needed to wash out leverage. And really, when that happens, the markets are just going to look for an excuse to start triggering that sell-off, and it's going to be very easy to do it as well, because when you trigger a dump that passes certain important levels, and in our case, this clearly kind of started, let's say like below 120, and then it really, really accelerated again, in this range here. And we can see this with the candles, right? We're on the hourly candles, and, our biggest drops were like, this hourly candle here, and then this hourly candle here, and obviously the next one that went really, really crazy. So just kind of these candles here were the most important ones, right? Let me draw this properly, because this is important to get right. It was literally just like these candles here, these two, and then this one here, where most of the drop happened. And that's like very clearly happening as we're losing support levels. So, because we know that one of those support levels is going to be 120. We know that another one of those support levels is going to be 117. So close, by the way, to 150. Smash them up, ladies and gents, if you haven't done so already. You absolute legends. We're so close. Thank you all very, very much. And that's what we see, right? That's what we see, is that, when these support levels start getting dropped, essentially those liquidations start coming in. Now, we've already explained this a couple of times in recent videos and live streams, but I'm going to do it again because it's just so important. Let me know in the live chat if you appreciate me going over this again. Maybe it's getting a little bit tedious or boring. Just let me know. But, if you got a position size worth $100 with $0, which means you're not in a position yet, and then you go long and you've got $100 in that long trade, if you start losing some of these support levels and you got a stop loss down here, then what are you going to do with this? I mean, you got an open position with 100 contracts, so the only way to close that position is by selling those 100 contracts. And when you sell into a market that's already aggressively dropping, that's where you get real problems in the market. That's where you get really, really aggressive drops down. Now, back to the comment from Celinda Anderson raising a very good point about, this is theory or whatever. The reality of these markets is that the exchanges didn't necessarily do that. There we go. That's that move up on Bitcoin there, exactly as expected. Ladies and gents, you're seeing it live. The analysis works out once again. Smash up the likes for that. You absolute legends. If you're new to the channel, you know the deal. Subscribe to the channel so you get access to these live streams during major volatility events. There we go. That's Bitcoin pushing up pretty strong right there. That's a strong 1 minute candle. We got 30 seconds left in this candle, so we'll see how this candle goes here. But that is Bitcoin waking up. It's just smashed through that previous high at $115,600, $115,500, and that does mean that we could be in a pretty aggressive charge higher now toward this resistance level up top at about 116.5. So let's see how this continues to play out. We're getting a tiny bit of a sell-off right now here on the 1 minute time frame. Super short-term analysis here, but we did kind of talk about how, look, if we do test the downside, we might have to get a big pump to the upside, and that is what's happening here. Yeah, we are pulling back now, so let's see if this ends up reclaiming this range here. Then we're probably range bound again for another 30 minutes maybe, I don't know. But if we do see follow through now, then we're probably going to be in a pretty good spot too. And I'm happy for the price to come as low as about here, because this is going to be a back test of some of our very, 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 very local support, which could allow Bitcoin to continue to move up here. But let's go back to that question from Celinda here. So, back on the note of the exchange fuckery going on, basically. I mean, from what I've just said, you can tell that it's not exchanges, right? I mean, it totally could be, some group of shadowy figures, call it exchanges, whales, insiders, market manipulators, whatever, that kind of triggered the sell-off. I definitely concede that could have happened. But, as far as the dump itself, I guess what I'm getting at is that it was bound to happen anyway. Leverage washouts are very common. And then again, when you start kind of hitting these liquidation levels, we got to keep in mind, the market is so scarred and traumatized right now, ladies and gents. The market is in such a bad place emotionally, psychologically, these days, that, it's not going to take much to spook people out of these markets. And we've known that for some time, right? I mean, every time Bitcoin hits a new all-time high, fucking everybody and their grandmother is just crying about it, instead of anything positive. And it's usually because they're just allocated in the wrong coins. And so basically they've been on the wrong side of every fucking move throughout this market cycle. And then that does breed, a level of internal jealousy that is going to, really skew your analysis and make you feel like the markets have to come down to make good on the opportunities that you lost. And if you are in a good kind of healthy bull market, which we're definitely in, and we can see that very clearly with, perhaps the 1 day time frame, for example. I mean, super clean, healthy uptrend so far. I mean, we're pretty much just moving up with, honestly, minor pullbacks, right? The worst pullbacks we've had were like minus 32%, which are completely like a non-issue as far as I'm concerned. They're really not concerning at all. So if you're getting a market like that, a healthy bull market, then the reality is, the market's not going to give you those entries again. When we set this all-time high here at 74K and we back tested it, that wasn't even, an exact back test. If we put a support level down, that's where the level was. And we didn't even hit that level. We front ran that level. And that's really typical of a healthy bull market, because there's too many people front running, trying to put their orders in first because they don't think that the price is going to go as low as that support level. And then as a result of that, it doesn't, and we front run the level, and then we kind of just full send higher. So I think that's definitely kind of what we've seen. Let's bring it back here onto the hourly, though, and finish off this note about this, fuckery from the exchanges. When you've got all those liquidations coming in, and then you've also got an environment essentially where, market participants are just so scarred and traumatized by the market, it's going to be a lot easier when that kind of waterfall happens and, you're selling back into the market because you need to close your positions. One of the things that you're going to quite easily end up seeing in those kind of situations is, retail traders especially panic selling and dumping their coins as well. And that's going to make everything worse, because that's going to drop prices even lower. And when prices drop even lower, like what happened when we dropped below, look, we slowed down here because we had support in this range, but then we really sped back up over here. And that's because we lost another support level, right? So it's that, excess fear that we have in the market, followed by more, it's tied in with more liquidations, because liquidations everywhere. That's going to push the market even lower. And, again, you mix more fear in with that, and that's how you start printing these heinous candles that, this candle here from high to low, on the next candle here, this is literally a $10,200 dump. And this wasn't even, the worst exchange for it, right? This is just a Coinbase chart. You take another chart like BitMEX or something, Bybit, any kind of leverage exchange, and actually the price dropped all the way down to about 102, 101. So, the reason we're getting these moves is not necessarily, anyone stealing from us or scamming us or anything like that. It is literally just, when you start getting these washouts, the market has to get pushed lower, because, open trades need to close. And the only way you can close is by selling into the same market that's already crashing. So I really don't think that this was, anything like criminal even or super bad. And, and we saw this with GME, bear in mind, ladies and gents, GME, it had its own kind of, like little phase. And it was this move here, and it was the same thing. It was just in reverse, right? There were tons of short positions that were kind of opened in these ranges here, built over even the years, perhaps. And then as these moves come in, those short positions need to close. And the only way you can close a position where you're actively selling into the market is by buying those coins back. And if you buy those the stock in this case, if you buy the stock back because your short position needs to be, closed essentially, because you've reached your stop loss or your liquidation, you are going to be, buying back into the market. And if you're already seeing an aggressive move, it's going to get pushed to the upside. And we already know what happened with GME. It was just a bunch of fucking Redditors, and Twitter bros or whatever the hell it was, that were pumping these markets up, that were pumping GME up, because it was the little guy versus Wall Street, which, whatever, it was funny. It was, whatever. It was a couple different takes you could have on it. But, the key point is that it happened, to GME as well. Yes, it happened in the opposite direction, but it's the same exact mechanic is the point. And that's why I just don't think that it was, like, I just don't want to, like pretend that this was surprising or scary or anything like that, because it just wasn't. It's things that we've seen before. It just happened to be, a lot more extreme than it ever was before. But, we're sitting at all-time highs. So, we're going to see extremities in these markets, and that's not unusual. It's not uncomfortable. It just is what it is. And this is where I'll always come in on stream. And, those of you that are new to the channel, you're just figuring this out now. But those of you that are being here for a while, you're going to know that we're pretty like open to just say, hey, look, like, if this kind of volatility doesn't sit right with you, if it makes you uncomfortable, scared, whatever the deal may be, then, you're just not suited to these markets. That's just kind of how it is here. But here's Bitcoin, a little bit of consolidation after this pump, and now slowly moving down, which is exactly what you want to see. If we're able to kind of slowly continue down here toward this 115.2 range, then we could definitely start seeing support. We might already be seeing that, so we'll wait to see how this goes throughout the course of this live stream as well. Welcome to those of you that are just tuning in. If you have just joined in, then definitely smash up those likes if you haven't done so already. Really do appreciate it. And obviously, if you do subscribe to the channel, basically you're going to be getting, round-the-clock analysis, super level-headed, calm stuff. This is what we do every day. Every time there's a big move in the market, we're live. And for those of you that did miss it, we did just post a very important video an hour or two ago right here. Nobody understands how bullish Bitcoin and crypto are right now. That's just my opinion, but that's how I feel about it. 26-minute video, really good, important content there. You can go ahead and watch this on 2x speed and then come back to the live stream. And then you can watch the live stream on 2x speed to catch up as well. And this video, I'd say, is even more important, 38 minutes. Listen, I know that some of these videos come across as too long, right? I know a lot of people like these 10-minute videos a little bit more and so on and so forth, but the fact is we don't drag these videos out. We don't drag these live streams out. I'm just covering what I'm covering, right? This is something I do full time. I take it very seriously. It's important to me to get this stuff right as much as I can. And if you were my friend sitting across from me in my house or in a coffee shop or whatever, I would always take the time to explain all of these nuances because, again, it's trading and it's money and it's the most important thing we can do with our money. So, it makes sense to give it time. If it's going to take 38 minutes, it's going to take 38 minutes. And if you don't like that idea, if it's too slow for you or whatever, then there's tons of channels out there where you can watch an iPhone screen recording that lasts, 3 to 5 minutes and, get your moving average analysis and just call it a day, right? There's tons of stuff like that, that you can go ahead and watch. But, if you want the real stuff, then it's right here and it takes time, and that's a good thing. It should take time. Because I'm serious about this, and I hope that the rest of you are serious about this as well. But yeah, Gene Carter says, you're fine, dude. Great content. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, it is fantastic content. Definitely well worth catching up on for those of you that haven't seen them already. When you talk about the epic short squeeze, whereabouts do we need to go to start triggering that? So short squeezes are going to happen above all-time highs. But we're not really getting them right now. I don't think many people are going short in this market, and that does make sense as well. But obviously it will come. There is going to be a short washout as well, and it is going to be quite a glorious run up for the bulls. I'm pretty sure of that too. 97K was prevented by buyback. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Could be. Definitely could be. So exchanges don't have to honor your stop loss. Question from Peter K. So listen, what the exchange does is it's an interface for you to trade with other people, essentially peer-to-peer. And it's centralized, typically, right? So they're going to put your order through, but, they can't be responsible for your order filling, right? The exchange can't control the market, and if the market is moving too quickly for your stop loss to hit, the exchange can't move the price back up to your stop loss so that you get a favorable exit. This is really important to understand. A lot of people don't get this. And I mean, I don't really know why, but whatever, maybe for a multitude of different reasons. Honestly, it doesn't really matter why you don't get it. The fact is the fact. The exchanges don't control, if your stop loss is going to get hit or not. Now, there's tons of like controversy around, if they even, treat your stop losses properly and so on. And that's a whole different discussion that, frankly, I haven't seen, enough kind of negative evidence about it. But no, the exchange is not obligated to, kind of fulfill your stop loss. They're just obligated to kind of put your stop loss order through. But I'm sure they got tons of legal padding so that even that, is not going to be something they're liable for if it doesn't work out. But if you're worried that your stop losses might not hit, which is a real risk in crypto, by the way, that does happen. Then again, it just means that the risk profile of these markets is too high for you. And, that's not a bad thing. That's, there's no shame in that at all. But, it's important to retain, a very, very sober kind of sense of realism about everything in these markets, because, if you just think that the exchange is there to fucking, like be your friend and make sure everything works for you, even when it's like literally impossible to work out, then, I think that you probably just need to understand how exchanges work a little bit more, because they can't move the price for you to give you a favorable exit. And like I said, it is a real baseline. I've experienced this before, by the way. I mean, I've been on the bad end of this too many times, where my stop loss doesn't get triggered at a favorable level, and then there's slippage, and so I end up exiting way worse. And oftentimes the coin will recover, and it's like, well, shit, if I didn't even have a stop loss, I would have been fine, right? But these are all of the risks that are, frankly, just very common in the game of crypto. It is very common that we see stuff like this going on in crypto. You've got to price that in with your trades, right? That's essentially what I would call like the cost of doing business. I mean, if you were I don't know, if you were like a bakery owner and you had a kind of really standard, respectable brick and mortar business, you pay your taxes, everything's fantastic. You are still going to have problems, right? One day, one of your staff members is going to steal from the fucking cash register, or someone's not going to turn up to work, or you're going to miss a delivery, and then you won't be able to bake, your best-selling items, right? These are standard costs of business that happen in all lines of work, in all industries, that are, we can call them black swan type events, we can call them bad luck, we can call them a number of different things. But the bottom line is that there is always going to be some level of kind of risk that, is really uncomfortable to sit with, but again, we limit that risk by being anti-fragile, and, I don't know how it works for the bakery owner. I don't know, you just got to have a couple different staff members or whatever ready to go. But, as a trader, the way we can control these risks is pretty straightforward, right? You just need to make sure that, again, you're, limiting your time under exposure to these dangerous things so that, you make the money that you want and then you put that money back in a safer place. These are the kind of lessons that people learn from events like this. Now, obviously, we want you to be able to learn these things before these kind of events happen so that, you don't lose money off them. And if anything, maybe you even stand a chance to make money off them. But that's not something a lot of people want to learn. That's not something a lot of people want to focus on. Now, if you are one of those people and you do want to really turn things around or really, kind of change the trajectory of where you're at, we do have an incredible one-to-one offer. Prices will be increasing. You can reach out if you do want to get some information about that with this link in the description below. It is expensive. It's very serious, but results have been incredible. They've only been incredible. No bad results so far. So very, very cool to see that indeed. So definitely reach out for that if you think you would be interested in that. Bitcoin right here has pulled off a full retracement now, and it looks like it is just really establishing a kind of range here now that it wants to trade in for a little bit. So again, our key level to break on the downside is going to be here at about 114.8, 114.7, and then on the upside here, we do now have to beat essentially 115.7 here in order to kind of target some of those resistance levels a little bit higher up. So we'll be watching that as well in these markets now. So yeah, how do we feel about that? Did I answer your questions, guys, about all of these things? Let me know in the live chat, if those answers were good and clear for you, John and Celinda and anybody else that asked related questions. Dave says, if the price drops past your stop loss and nobody is buying, it goes lower. I mean, yeah, it's just simple mechanics, dude. It just is what it is. I mean, it's one of those things that you hate to know and hate to find out. And my God, if you're learning about these things after the fact, like if you didn't know that this was possible and you were trading, then, I mean, and this is the problem with anything that's kind of, self-sufficient, self-reliant, is that, you're not going to have someone there by default telling you what you need to worry about, what you need to be aware of in the future and things like that. You're just going to have to kind of figure it out on your own or get a really good kind of source for information up front. And most people don't do either of those things. Most people just kind of, see something on fucking Twitter, Telegram, Discord, Instagram, they see some profit loss statements or whatever, and then they just kind of want to, jump in, and obviously that's how you get caught on problems like what we had 2 days ago. How do I feel about future XRP ETF inflows and their impact? Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think XRP is in a fantastic place. Don't forget, XRP had a phenomenal reset as well, and it's been looking good as far as its court cases and all that good stuff. So it definitely looks like, the wet dreams for XRP holders, I think they got a decent probability of coming true here. Like I said, I ended up buying a little bit of XRP on this drop, because I just see better prices than, I was kind of hoping for. So I was like, all right, I mean, I'm not going to say no to this. And that's, that's why I picked up a little bit of XRP, so, yeah, Peter says, great answer. Thank you. You're very, very welcome, sir. John says, yes, sir. Appreciate it. You're very welcome as well. He says, I'm looking into your trade class. Hope to get in soon on a 10-day holiday. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Definitely get yourself in if you're interested. I don't know what you mean about the holiday, but just to be clear, it's something that plays out over 12 weeks. And you're working one-to-one. So, it's a gradual thing. There's a lot that we cover. It's a pretty big package, and we'll give you more information on that if you think that you'd be, a good candidate for that program here. We are pretty selective of who we take on, because I don't want people that are going to pay the, like I said, it's an expensive fee. I don't want people that are going to pay the fee and then just fucking be idiots about it. But if you're serious and you really want to do well in these markets, then it might be a good idea. Definitely worth, kind of reaching out and seeing if you'd be a good fit. But, back to the market here, we're just kind of chilling. It looks like the, looks like the market does want to push a little bit lower. So we'll see how that goes here on the 1 minute time frame on the right hand side of the chart here. Let's see what other questions we have in the live chat as well. Am I doing a trade right now or just watching? I'm just watching, dude. I'm just watching. I don't really have, I got my investments, but haven't really been actively trading. I don't see any, super safe trades, to be honest, right now. My perspective would be different on this if I had the bonuses that these exchanges give, right? I mean, Bybit, you're getting up to 30K that you can trade with. You can, any profits you make are going to be yours to keep. Bluefin's got even more aggressive bonuses. They're easier to get. You know, and if I had that kind of free money, then for sure I'd be just throwing it somewhere because, you know, why the hell not, right? If I make profits, I can keep them. You guys can do that, obviously. That's going to be pending regulations in your own country. You got to check those out. But, you know, just for me as it stands right now, without all that fucking beautiful free money from all the bonus hunting, you know, like, I just don't think that it's, like, the best time to, you know, like, if I had risk-free money, I would definitely fuck around with it. But, you know, as it stands right now, I'd rather just kind of watch to see what happens. We do have a little bit of a drop for Bitcoin here. It is intensifying, and it looks like it's going to be pushing us down to that support level here. So let's see how this continues to play out here on, of course, still the 1 minute time frame. If we do end up falling below this level here, then yeah, this move up toward resistance might take a little bit longer. But I'll tell you what, you know, here on the hourly time frame, it does still look pretty good. You know, even if this thing does retrace and come back quite a bit lower, you know, I'm happy with kind of 3 steps forward, 2 steps back kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like that's actually pretty good for me. You know, I'm not going to be upset by that at all. So I'm still very, very open to, you know, things like that kind of happening here. Okay, Mike, I can't read your comment, dude. I'm sorry. There is the drop for Bitcoin there. We did just plunge below support. We are dropping pretty aggressively here. This is a fairly sizable drop that we've just seen live on stream. We've dropped down by 1% in 18 minutes. 1% at Bitcoin's current price is going to be about 1,150, right? So 1,250 or something around there. A little bit of a drop here for BTC. Yeah, let's see how this continues to play out. We'll kind of maximize this chart now and, you know, just put things into perspective. That's kind of what we have right now. So there's a ton of kind of, you know, very, 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 very short-term speculative support around here that could end up working out for Bitcoin. But I think the fact that we did lose that level isn't great. You know, if we don't recover it pretty soon, then yeah, we definitely might have to look at something else instead, maybe some deeper kind of pullbacks here. So we'll be monitoring that to see how that goes. Apparently, we got some Trump tariff announcements or something like that. Let's take a look at that. Let's open up Twitter and see if there's anything here. Don't worry about China. We'll all be fine. I think this is the tweet I already saw. Yeah, I got a pretty terrible Twitter feed, to be honest, but let's see what the trading list here says. So Følecone always being Følecone. The worse the outlook, the better the outcome. It's hard to not still maintain a contrarian. It's hard to not still remain a contrarian optimist. Yeah, I feel that way too. I definitely feel that way as well. I don't see anything about Trump on my timeline here. I'm sure if he did say something, it would already show up here. But, yeah, it definitely looks like, yeah, definitely looks like we're not seeing any crazy developments right now. Here on Twitter, nothing too crazy by the looks of it. What is this? Tron mode. Hey, that's cool. I've seen a little bit of that. That's interesting. But yeah, nothing really popping off right here for now. So we'll see how this continues to go. A little bit of a recovery here for Bitcoin as well, so that's cool to see. So definitely be keeping an eye out on that as well. See how that continues to kind of play out here for this market. It might not be something he posted, could be something from like a question a reporter asked him or something like that. Yeah, that does make sense. And if it is like that, it's probably going to get clipped and end up on Twitter pretty soon. Gene says Trump tweets are very suspect. I mean, they seem on brand for him, dude. You know, he rattles people he wants to negotiate with, and then he plays nice after a couple of days. I mean, it's standard good cop, bad cop, you know, kind of practices. I got a little bit of flack on the last video saying people saying, look, you know, Sammy, you give too much credit to Trump, whatever. But I'm staying pretty neutral about this, actually. You know, I mean, credit's going to be given where it's due because I'm neutral. But, you know, I mean, I'm just saying what Trump does. You know what I mean? Like, Trump just kind of sends tweets, you know, and a lot of them are kind of crazy. I mean, we've known who this guy is for, like, you know, 10 years now. Like, we understand how he operates, you know, and I don't think that he's doing anything that's off-brand for him. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about it, to be honest. I don't think it's too crazy. Is Ethereum following Bitcoin, or could it start ripping higher? I mean, it definitely could start ripping higher, but I really think that these markets, before they get any kind of big move, I think these markets are going to want the blessing of traditional finance, and I don't think that we have that yet because traditional finance hasn't started trading yet. You know, if traditional finance, you know, does start trading tomorrow in the green, and actually, you know, there is like another bit of China, you know, USA news, for example, then, you know, I definitely think that, you know, we're going to be in a pretty nice position for some of this to take off. So, we'll definitely be covering that. I mean, that's going to be tomorrow. So if you're not already subscribed, definitely subscribe now. Get that bell icon checked so that you can see that analysis when we do put it out. The Trump derangement syndrome crowd now just silly and embarrassing themselves. Just ignore them, bro. I mean, you know, I don't know about the whole TDS narrative, but, you know, there is a lot of people that don't like him, you know, a lot. It's hard to ignore. But I also don't think it matters whether you like him or not. I mean, that's really besides the point. Honestly, it's a very immature discussion. Do you like Trump or not? Just fucking look at him for what he is, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, you know, like, just I'm evaluating a president based off the results. I mean, I know that sounds kind of crazy, and we should be evaluating them based on how nicely they smile, like Obama, or like Justin Trudeau. But you know, sometimes you just wanna, kind of look at somebody based on what they achieve, especially if their job is really important based on what they achieve, right? If you really evaluate them based on, you know, the outcomes. Well, you know, the outcomes that Trump achieved earlier this year were, you know, a little brief market crash for the S&P 500, followed by phenomenal deals for America. You know, there's definitely tariff concerns. There's definitely businesses that were negatively harmed by it, but, you know, net positive if you're if you're looking to take care of your country and reduce reliance on hostile countries like China and so on. So I think it totally makes sense. Nicholas says it's a circus with Trump's tweets, and I totally understand that, but again, I think it's just reading into it too deep, you know, like Trump just fucking sends tweets, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. I shitpost as well. I love shitposting, you know what I mean? And but yeah, by the way, Bitcoin right here is pulling off a recovery right now, so it looks like Bitcoin really does want to stay above, you know, 115k. Let's see if it can reclaim 115 right here on stream, so we'll be looking at that. No need to be rude if you have facts on your side. I mean, yeah, no need to be rude, right? But even if you are rude, you know, like, what, you know, I mean, like, the results are results at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like, if someone's rude, you can kind of just ignore it. I know it's like I know it's a crazy idea, right? In the Western world, God forbid somebody's rude and you just kind of fucking get on with your day. I know it's like a revolutionary take, but no, believe it or not, you can just fucking be unaffected by the stupid shit that Trump says. You know, I don't even think, frankly, that Trump takes himself seriously. I certainly don't think anyone close to him takes the naughty shit he says seriously either. And that's okay, man. Dude fucking won 3 elections in a row. He doesn't have a filter, you know what I mean? Like, he's just that guy. You know, you might not like it, but I mean, like I said, I just don't think that you know, we're gonna see a crazy crash off the back of this China news, because I don't think Trump wants that either. You know, and I think that Trump proved that to us very clearly, because he made that tariff announcement at the end of the Friday trading session. You know, he could have made that announcement at any point, but he wanted the markets to have time to absorb that news and be okay with them. And as far as what we can see so far, the markets have done a great job at recovering from that bad news. I mean, you know, just from the all-time high that Bitcoin set a couple of days ago to the high that Bitcoin set in this live stream, we've now dropped by a total of 8.3%. You know, which is pretty legit, in my opinion. You know, I think that's pretty damn good. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I'm really not. I think we're looking good. We got Emery Perez saying he made billions on a meme while our portfolio's shit in November. Now again, yeah, I mean, there's definitely, by the looks of it, there's a ton of, you know, insider trading and, you know, just like family fucking benefits of having Trump in the office and whatever. Certainly looks like insiders have been able to make massive gains off the back of his presidency. And I know he's getting a lot of flack for it. It's not good. It's not right. Obviously, that's not what you're supposed to do. It's also not new at all. Insider trading is one of the most fucking common things we've seen happening out of DC going back many decades. And it's going to keep happening until, you know, there's some real legislation against it. So yeah, I mean, you know, that's kind of what I see, to be honest, from where I am. Ladies and gents, if you are just tuning in, if you haven't already smashed up those likes, let's see if we can push this thing up to 200. We're only 23 likes away from that. Shouldn't be too hard at all. If you haven't already smashed them up, definitely go ahead and do that now. If you don't mind, if you do mind, then that's totally cool as well, obviously. Wavy Gravy says, I don't give a fuck what side you're on. The Constitution is the law of the land. We got a real American in the chat. Let's go. Let's go. That is a take I can get behind for sure. Constitution is the law of the land. It really is. It's the only one that really matters. You know, there are tons of violations of it that have been normalized. Hopefully that can stop happening, because I do believe that the United States, if you just look at the Constitution, is the most perfect country ever made. And I think a lot of people believe that. And I think a lot of people did believe that even back in the day as well. That's why, you know, the Constitution was formed as it is, which is fantastic. We got Make XRP Great Again is saying Trump is the GOAT. His unorthodox, unpredictable approach keeps people in their places. Definitely seems like it could. Whatever. You know, I'm really not interested in arguing over, you know, the practical things that Trump does to achieve what he does. The bottom line is that he achieves what he achieves, you know, and however he does it, I really don't care. I'm just here to trade the markets. We can have our emotional discussions about how disgusting or rude it might be separately, but, you know, as far as the important parts, the relevant parts, I think it's right here what we're talking about on this live stream right now. Hajim says, with the invention of Polymarket, government officials can insider trade as they see fit. They definitely can, but there's also limited liquidity on Polymarket. You can't make too much money off Polymarket. You're going to hit ceilings of liquidity pretty quickly. So I think that's worth keeping in mind as well. Only a little bit. But if S&P 500 opens in 20 minutes over 65, 64, that means crypto could go up. Yeah, it definitely sounds like it, but the S&P is not opening in 20 minutes. It's opening tomorrow. So we got quite a long time until the S&P reopens here. So let's take a look at that real quick. That's 16 hours away from current time of live streaming here with you guys. 13 likes away, by the way, from 200. So very, very cool. Thank you all for smashing them up. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and click those likes up now. Yeah, getting anywhere, you know, opening anywhere higher would be very, very nice, I think, at this point. Yeah, here we go. So John says, before taking office, Obama's net worth was estimated around 1.3 million in 2007. At the conclusion of his presidency in 2017, his estimated net worth had grown significantly to 12.2 million. Those numbers seem very, very small, even at that. So I don't even know if I believe that, but yeah, not super surprising. I'd say it's definitely not like crazy surprising. You know, presidents do somehow make a lot of money. You know, when they're fucking, you know, working in office, senators, everybody, you know, they just kind of know where to put their money thanks to the knowledge that they have access to. Indices opened the night before. I mean, I'm looking at it, dude, and it says 16 hours. So, you know, it looks like it's gonna be 16 hours. From what I can see here. 1 mil to 70 mil point is Trump. I can't understand that comment, I'll be honest. Check out ES1. ES1. Well, these are futures. Yeah, I mean, futures are futures, right? So, futures open in 24 minutes. Oh, hell yeah. Hey, we'll just watch that. Hey, thanks for that, EF YouTube. Thanks for that. Yeah. You wrote that. I didn't see your comment. EF YouTube says in 20 minutes, 6 p.m. US time, futures lead the way. Yeah. Well, I actually forgot about that. So thanks for pointing that out. We'll definitely be watching that in this live stream here. We got, you know, 20 minutes, 23 minutes counting down here. So we'll be live during that time, and we'll cover that with you guys here on this live stream as well. But Bitcoin right here on the 1 minute time frame, still just kind of hanging out, not doing anything too crazy. I think honestly, yeah, this 23-minute mark, when this time does elapse, it could be very, very, very interesting for these markets. I'm really interested to kind of see how this ends up playing out for the market. Meanwhile, we'll put a pin in that. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to add this to my watch list. I should have this already, so thank you for helping me with that, EF YouTube. Put that up here. Mark that red. Let's go back to keep Bitcoin on the right hand side here, and then on the left hand side, let's go ahead and put some Binance coin charts up here. And again, Binance coin has fully recovered basically back to all-time highs here. I mean, this is incredible. This is incredible because, you know, if we're seeing basically a full recovery here on a major altcoin, you know, and Bitcoin's already trying to pull off a recovery too, then, you know, I do think Binance coin in many ways could be leading the way for this market. So that's definitely something I'm going to be interested to kind of see how that continues to play out here in this market. But yeah, Binance coin definitely looking good here. Binance coin against Bitcoin. I've put this on the wrong chart again. One sec. Binance coin against Bitcoin right here is at all-time highs. Is it? Well, not all-time highs, but it's at, you know, cycle highs at least. Well, it's at highs. Let's put it that way. It's at some sort of high right now. So it is coming up against some major BTC resistance here. I would love to see a rejection and come back down into this range. I don't know if we're going to get it at this stage, but I would definitely love to see something like that. We are seeing Bitcoin pump up a little bit here as well, so let's see how this continues to go for Bitcoin. If we can start clearing some of these wicks, then we're probably regaining this range here in the low 115s. So keep an eye on that, see how that continues to move. Hajim says almost every crypto CEO and influencer insider trades too, except for flies, of course. Yeah, there's a lot of insider trading, dude. Definitely one of the kind of prevailing mechanics here in the crypto space, and it's still going on massively. It's still definitely going on. But you know, you don't need to. It's a bad world, that insider trading world. You know, it's a lot of fucking sharks and nasty people that are all very happy to fuck you over. It's a dog eats dog world, and I just don't participate in that stuff. I'm not interested. Haven't been interested for a long time. So, you know, that's why. You know, it's just a bad place to be. Many of those people don't even. You gotta be like, because it's basically scammers versus scammers, right? So, you know, you gotta be like good at fucking pulling wool over people's eyes and scamming the scammers, and you know, you're just in a nasty game. So. Unfortunately, yeah, very, very common. It's probably going to be common for a while. It's always been common in all markets, to be honest. Do I think the market is heading bullish or bearish from here? I think we're pretty bullish. Long term is what works. Gamble and you will most likely lose. Completely agree, Gene. Completely agree with that take. Yep. Definitely see that. But yeah, Binance coin here looking absolutely fantastic. Just seeing it basically at brand new all-time highs very nearly now is just such a beautiful, beautiful thing to see playing out here for Binance coin. And I think it's a very strong indication for where the rest of this market could be headed, because Binance does lead the market sometimes, you know, and it's not like we have an absence of kind of strength on Bitcoin anyway. So I think, yeah, we're actually doing pretty well overall. 5 likes away, by the way, from 200. We're just 5 likes away. That is so, so cool. Thank you all very much for that. Yeah, Bitcoin dominance sitting at about 59.5. We're just kind of hanging out. There's nothing crazy going on right now. Nothing crazy. Am I in any trades? No, not really, dude. Just kind of chilling. But if we're realistic, someone will get the info first. Yeah, I mean, that's always going to lead to some level of kind of insider trading. Ethereum is going to make new all-time highs. I agree with you, sir. I agree with you. Bates says lost money on a 2x, still playing the game. Yeah, dude, and we were talking about that earlier on in the live stream. If you're just tuning in now, go ahead and rewind the live stream. We spoke about exactly your situation here for quite some time. And I do think it's quite important to be able to keep in mind as well, yeah. Black Gold Estates just hit the like button. Thank you all very much. We've just pushed above 200 likes. You absolute legends. Thank you all very much for smashing them up. We do have the S&P 500 futures opening up in about 20 minutes. We're going to be covering that live in 20 minutes when that does happen. So definitely stick around to see how that goes. I'm very interested to see how that goes on open. It's going to tell us a lot, judging by what I've seen. My prediction is we're actually going to gap up on the open. And the reason I think we're going to gap up on the open is because crypto tends to kind of match what the S&P is going to do. You know, and we have got, you know, a little bit of a recovery here in crypto, so I definitely think that we're not looking too bad. I'm actually curious to look at let's look at total 3 total 3 ES, and let's see where this is. I mean, this is a pretty sizable drop. We went from, you know, 800 and so billion to like 500 billion. It's a pretty decent drop there for sure. But basically a full recovery, man. Basically a full recovery now, you know. I mean, this is This is not what you want to see, you know, if you're trying to make a bearish argument. Total 2 went from about 1.4 trillion down to about, you know, 900 billion, so nothing too crazy there either. Question, why do people use leverage? I mean, shit, it's a great way to make money if you know what you're doing, you know what I mean? But a lot of people are just fucking stupid, and they do stupid things, and they're like, oh my god, I did a stupid thing and it didn't work out for me, and they're all surprised. But, you know, I think the problem is a lot of these people don't think they're doing something stupid, you know? They're so far up their own fucking arse, you know what I mean? That they don't even like understand what risk they're taking. We're so like, I don't know, strict, or I don't know, obsessive over it, frankly, on this channel, you know, doing these things safely. I think it's so important, you know, because, and we are seeing a tiny drop here on Bitcoin. I think it's so important because, you know, it's not a matter of when, or I mean, it's not a matter of if. It's always a matter of when. You know, if you're taking unreasonable risks in crypto and you do that shit as a fucking habit or across a long period of time, you know, your chance of getting some sort of wipeout is incredibly high. It's incredibly high, you know, and a lot of people just straight up don't know this. They don't try learning, you know, and I think it's because, you know, you see a bunch of dickheads, you know, fucking 20-year-old something people like me, you know, with fucking Ferraris and cool toys, and you're like, oh shit, you know, I can get in this game, and you know what I mean? I mean, I don't think I'm like anywhere near contributing to this at all, because we're all about trading safely, but, you know, see a bunch of other dickheads that are, you know, like 19 years old, 22 years old, they got a Lambo, they got a fucking Miami Beach apartment, whatever. You know, they live in Dubai, they got the whole thing going on, you know, and then, you know, your standard retail trader is going to see that and think that, you know, well, if that idiot made all that money, then maybe I can too. But I guess the part that they miss is that the idiot, you know, who they're looking at on Instagram, you know, they have access to insider information and a bunch of other unfair advantages a lot of other people don't have, and they didn't actually earn any of their money because they're also stupid. You know, but you don't really see that. You just kind of see the gains and you're like, all right, I can replicate that, and you don't ask any other questions because it looks so easy. But it's not actually that easy at all. You know, it's actually quite hard. Like I said, I've been doing this for over 8 years. It's pretty difficult. It's pretty difficult to get this stuff right. We got 15 minutes left for this ES1 futures open, so we'll look to see how that works out here. If you get in the barber's chair, don't cry when you get your hair cut. Yep, fair enough. Fair enough. Hajim says, to put it plainly, the world is not fair. Exactly. And, you know, we're seeing a lot of that. Like, oh, this isn't fair. You know, sentiment like that here in crypto, stuff like that. And, I mean, I get it's not fair, but, like, who are you complaining to? You know what I mean? Like, that's not gonna, you know, do anything for you, talking about how unfair this is. It's just what it is. The markets are, you know, they're not alive. They're just other people, you know, trading on the markets. And sometimes you get a washout, and the washout is very extreme. And, you know, that's not, you know, that's, I don't know, like, you just kind of have to know what you're doing, basically. That's what I talk about all the time. And we've got a solution to this, by the way. Pretty soon you guys are going to see a pretty crazy offer from us here on this YouTube channel. It's probably going to be like a monthly sub. We're going to include some exclusive live streams every week, some exclusive analysis, you know, updates on my own kind of movements in the markets as well. That's going to be restricted all to that package there, which I think you guys are going to love. We're going to be pricing it pretty low, and there is going to be a price lock. We are going to increase the prices pretty quickly after we kind of release that offer, but those of you that do get in early are going to have a price lock for a certain period of time as well, because we're gonna price it too low. It shouldn't be priced as low as we are, but we want to, you know, we want to be able to get people in, and then if you like it, you know, obviously you can go ahead and renew. So that's coming out soon. If you do think you'd be interested in that, you can go ahead and click subscribe here. Make sure you get that bell icon checked and all that good stuff, and you will definitely know about it when it does come out. We're definitely working on that in the back end here, and I think you guys are going to really, really like what we come out with. So, you know, that's going to help kind of people do this moving forward and kind of be aware of some of the risks that might come into the market. I think it's really, really important. I really like the way you explained 10 mil took out 100 mil of the market cap. I don't know exactly what you mean, but I think you're talking about, you know, kind of a waterfall sell-off with liquidations. And yeah, no, it's very real. It's very real. When alt season will take off hard? I mean, you know, probably when we get a lot of optimism back into crypto. So it's probably a little while away. I think we've already started alt season in a number of ways, but the really, really crazy alt season, kind of is probably still a little bit of a ways away at this stage. MA says, personally, I find leverage crazy. I'm lucky, I guess. I started in crypto in 2013, pre-leverage era, and it was never a thing for me over the last 12 years. It's a tool. It's a tool, I mean, it's stupid the way a lot of people use it, but, I don't think that's different to the crypto space entirely or any other space. It's just a faster way to lose your money if you're stupid. But if you're stupid, you're losing your money anyway. You know what I mean? Like, you're definitely going to lose your money anyway if you're stupid. But, leverage will speed that up. And in the same way, if you know what you're doing and you've studied the game and, you're kind of being sensible, you're not risking stupid amounts of money, this stuff is basic. This stuff is pretty basic. It's just that people in crypto don't learn it because, they didn't get a sort of formal education when they came in this stuff. And that's how it goes wrong for those people, But, it's a tool like anything else, and if you use it safely, it's actually, fantastic for some people. You know what I mean? But, you need the right market conditions. You need a lot of things to line up. It's not something that you just fucking do because, one day you logged on to fucking Binance and you feel a little bit poor today, so you want to, run it up. That's not how this works in reality. You're going to have to, put a lot more substance behind that. You're trading against people that are a lot better than you, and, you really have to do a good job with it. We got a comment saying, hey, beginner here, what do you think about AUD/USD? I'm bleeding. I don't know what you mean by that. You talking about the Australian dollar? Because I don't really analyze Forex. I'm not really good at that. Bait says, I made some mistakes. Have to take that on the chin. That's it, mate. That's all you can do. All you can do is, make your mistakes, learn from them, and then don't repeat them. That's it, man. That's it. You don't have any other options beyond that. A little bit of agreement that S&P futures might gap up when they open, and they are going to be gapping up pretty. They are going to be opening up pretty soon here. How long is that now? That's going to be about 10 minutes away now, so pretty close by. Mustafa Mahmoud says, bro, been following you for a while, and you definitely look very, very different now. Thank you. I hope that's in a good way. We got Salsa, is it? I think saying the Chinese are selling, but whales and worldwide crypto exchanges buying the dip, and currently everybody buying desperately to sell after Fed rate cut rally. Well, we'll see about that. Definitely looks like that could be happening. What else we got here? I'm not keeping up with the chat very well. My bad, guys. What do I drive? I got a bunch of cars, but I like Teslas and Porsches and Ferrari. Those are my favorite brands, really. I don't even like Ferrari that much anymore. Do you think there's going to be an alt season like in 2021? 2021 was fueled by stimulus checks. No? Great show. Thank you very much for the compliment. Yeah, I think we're going to get a similar kind of alt season to that. Yeah, I do. It was driven by stimulus checks. Obviously, we're probably not going to have those this time around, but I still think we're going to do pretty well overall. I'm not too worried about it. What do you think of the dollar and its impact on the future market cap, TOT? I don't know what TOT means, but Bitcoin is pushing up again. So let's see what happens with Bitcoin here. This is happening just minutes before the S&P 500 futures open. So I definitely think that Bitcoin is trying to meet whatever the S&P is going to do when it starts trading here on this futures market. So what's up, dude? Welcome to the live stream. You didn't miss too much, I guess, but just go ahead and rewind the live stream, put it on 2x, and you'll catch up. But yeah, Bitcoin is. I think this is definitely happening in response to the S&P futures opening up here in just 9 minutes. I think this is definitely Bitcoin trying to, match a little bit of what the S&P is going to end up doing. We'll see. I could be completely wrong about this, but it looks really good. It looks like Bitcoin's really trying. I mean, it's getting sent down lower every single time it tries, but let's see what happens with this move up here, because if Bitcoin can clear resistance, we might even see 117K before futures open up here for the S&P 500, which would be absolutely fantastic. If you are enjoying the stream so far, definitely make sure that you do smash up those likes. If you're not already subscribed, make sure that you do subscribe so you don't miss out on these live streams that we do during all of these volatility events. We're always here. That's the Bitcoin breakout, by the way. That's $115,800 for Bitcoin, pushing up right now as we speak. So if you are subscribed, you've been seeing our live streams on this content every single day. Maybe we don't live stream every day. We'll still put out a video. Just as long as there's something interesting, we're always here. Basically, the way this works is anytime you feel like, shit, what's going on with the market? we're probably live here on this channel. So you'll be able to catch that analysis, which is super, super cool over here. But yeah, that's Bitcoin pushing up to $115,800 once again. We've just swept that high. We've swept all of our recent highs from the last couple of hours. And it looks like it really, really wants to go. So let's see if it does end up pulling anything out of its kind of back pocket from here. We do have 7 minutes left on the S&P 500 futures. And like I said, I think that this entire price move, especially this one here, but really all of it, I think is Bitcoin trying to get itself in line with wherever the S&P 500 might end up opening here. So that's definitely pretty cool. Let's see if anything's kind of cooking on Twitter right now. Yeah. This is so cute. This is so cute. It's like the nicest picture I've seen today. I like that. Yeah, apparently Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau were going at it. That's fantastic. That's fantastic, isn't it? U.S. stock market futures open sharply higher as investors react to U.S.-China de-escalation this weekend. So I don't know how these people have this information already, but is this the S&P 500? No, I don't believe it. No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. 6,600 is kind of mad. Actually, no, that's conceivable. Yeah, no, that's right where it closed, actually. No, never mind. I was completely wrong about that. What is the link for the exclusive group? So it's not a group. It's going to be one-to-one. And you can reach out using this link in the description, and a member of the team will get the information over to you. It's this link right here in the description. Again, just bear in mind, it's a very serious offer. You know, not everyone's going to be suited to this. A lot of people just want to talk about making more money and all that good stuff. But, you know, if you genuinely are invested, you're willing to invest in yourself, then definitely reach out on this link. But otherwise, you know, if you don't feel like you're fully there, that's totally cool. That's totally cool. I mean, you know, there's tons of things you can do otherwise as well. But yeah, I do know that a few of you guys have already reached out for that offer. So just wait out for a response from the team. They'll either get back to you during this live stream or afterwards. And they'll get you that information for that offer. So if it is something you think you'd be interested in, now is definitely the time to reach out. We are raising prices on it. And we're going to raise prices on it a couple of times, actually, because we are introducing some offers that are going to kind of come in instead. So if this is something you want to get yourself inside of, I think now is obviously going to be the best time. I mean, the markets are looking so good overall, so definitely worth looking at. Let's see what we got here in the live chat. If retail wasn't gone before, they definitely are after Friday's event. I think they're just spooked, right? But I think a lot of retail just doesn't really have a whole lot else to do. You know, I think there's huge sections of the economy, like America, for example, especially where, you know, people have some sort of stay-at-home job or whatever, but, you know, they kind of just fucking, like, they're more or less just largely unemployed somehow. That's how I feel as well, to be honest. And, you know, they're just kind of doing their thing, messing about in these markets. You know, there's a lot of like sports betting culture and stuff like that as well. Peter Case says 12 weeks one-on-one with Sammy sounds priceless. Well, I'll tell you what, you know, like I said, it is an expensive offer, but, you know, because of the people that have joined and what they've been able to gain after taking that offer on, they've actually, like, I mean, it's so easy, even though the cost of getting in is, you know, it is a serious investment. It's been so easy for those people to pay off that fee just by, you know, saving themselves from a bad decision that would have lost them way more than what they invest to get into the program. And then obviously on the aggression side, also making trades that perhaps otherwise they wouldn't have had the conviction to take that, you know, would also easily pay off these investment fees. So definitely, you know, for everyone that's joined the program so far, it's not even close, right? Like, you know, one loss is enough. You know, if it prevents one loss, it's enough to kind of make that fee well worth it. And I think that's kind of how, you know, the experience has gone for people that did get inside that program. So like I said, that's going to be with this link right here in the description if you are interested in it. But 115,300, tiny retracement here again. We're doing it again, but I don't think that's a problem at all. We have 3 minutes left until futures reopen. I mean, if this is real, then we're in a kind of crazy place. I mean, that's going to be a huge kind of tying up, honestly, of World War IV has begun. Okay, Alex Jones is always just ahead of the curve, isn't he? My God, he is just always ahead of the curve. But yeah, that's what I see there. Oh my God, Twitter is just going mad. Twitter is just going mad. But if you include the after hours drop in futures, the S&P 500 is up 120 at the open. This is effectively erased 50% of the decline seen late last week. Now we await more guidance from the Trump admin. There we go. There we go. Big gap up on the ES. Where are you guys seeing this shit? Where are you guys at? Am I on the... I guess they're just different ones, huh? But we're 2 minutes away from seeing this one, so we'll just see how that goes here on this live stream. Shout out to those of you tuning in with us live today. This is a pretty nice live stream here. Really, really interesting developments we're seeing today. Psychedelic Smith says, I'm a new viewer and subscriber. Well, thank you very much and welcome. I wish I found you on Friday when shit hit the fan and I was in bits. Yeah, dude. I wish you found me too. But hey, you're here and you're not going anywhere now. So you'll be we'll be right here with you during all the next volatility events. I promise we're gonna see much more crazy shit in this market. So don't worry about that at all. You may not be subscribed to data in TradingView. Mine works. Really? Well, I don't know. Maybe not. But anyway, I'm happy to wait a minute and just see it on my side. It looks like it has definitely gapped up as we did predict, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, you got me now, man. Hell yeah, you're in. So welcome. It's good to have you, and I think you'll be happy to kind of be able to tune in with these live streams with us over the next kind of volatility events that we do end up seeing here. So that's absolutely fantastic. There we go. We should be seeing this open up right here any second now, so we'll be able to see this on our side as well on this live stream. We'll put this on the hourly time frame, so we can really kind of see what happens up close here. But you know, I think if we're looking at some nice kind of gap up or something like that, and if it sticks, especially for Monday, I mean, we got another kind of you know, like I said, we got another like 15-16 hours of news to see how this does end up playing out. But let's just see how this does go here. We're very, very close to seeing this market open here on my side. I don't know. Apparently, I got the wrong charts or something. But by the way, as far as being subscribed to data, I'm pretty sure I am, or maybe I was, and then you know the years go by quickly. Maybe I don't have that subscription anymore. I'm not sure. There are people who will buy Bitcoin and people who love high leverage degen plays. Yeah, that's definitely true. It's going to be a large kind of range of people that are interested in various different things, for sure, in this market. But is this thing opening or what? Probably like 10 seconds away or something. Probably pretty close to seeing it open. Let's see. Any moment now, probably. Looks like Bitcoin's dropping down in response to the open here, so we're not keeping those gains, but that's totally fine. Data is 10 minutes slow, meaning you're not subscribed. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so I had to wait an extra 10 minutes. Okay. Well, maybe I can, to get real time, please buy the real time data package. Okay, I'll just buy that after the stream. But hey, that's pretty good. That's really good. That we're getting this nice big gap up here, 66.60 more or less. That's really good news, I think. Yeah, I'm definitely happy to see that. So it looks like the markets are happy with that as well. And it looks like well, let's see what the rest of the kind of crypto space is saying right now. Dominance sitting at 59.62, 115,300 Bitcoin, 4,100 Ethereum. Yeah, a lot of these coins are just kind of hanging out, aren't they? They're not doing anything too crazy here, but that's okay. I mean, if we, like I said, like, look, ladies and gents, if we're able to carry this strength forward into tomorrow for that Monday open, then I do think we're going to be in an absolutely incredible place for these markets. Tom Brown says the political discussion on Friday was actually distracting. Don't restart it, though. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I can't make promises. I really just don't want to censor myself. You know, I don't like this culture of everybody censoring themselves. So, I don't want to participate in it. I want to do my bit to reverse it and make it okay to say controversial stuff again without being worried that we're going to get fucking cancelled by a bunch of fucking blue-haired, you know, psychos or whatever. And I think that's the right thing to do. I think we should just kind of, you know, just talk and not be worried. You know, like, I mean, we've got this weird internet culture now where because everything is recorded, it can come back and bite you in the future. And now it's just like this unnatural place where you have to fucking filter every conversation through how it might be perceived in 5 to 10 years. And I think it's silly. I'm actually proud. I'm going to have a bunch of fucking nasty stuff people are going to be digging up on me later on. And, you know, whatever, man. I was, you know, like, I'm the only one that said stupid shit. You know what I mean? Like, we're human. Relax. We all have to take a shit, you know what I mean? Like we're just people. I wouldn't have a career if I didn't censor myself. I mean, yeah, a lot of you guys are in that boat, but how are we gonna fix it? You know what I mean? Like, it's not right. A lot of you guys watching are probably in America, given the time that we're live streaming right now. And you guys literally have the First Amendment. You have a God-given right to free speech. You know, like, you know, it's the status quo. I understand it. You know that you know, you're supposed to censor yourself to keep your job and all that good stuff. But this is a toxic, cancerous culture, and it needs to go. And the way we can make it go is if we all collectively start, you know, speaking a little bit more freely. Now, I understand some people are gonna want to wait a little bit longer, you know, so that they feel safer to do it, and that's totally fine. But I'm saying, you know, if you feel comfortable enough to kind of speak your mind, just do it. It's good for the world. You're saying it's reality. I just don't care to discuss my worldview with normies, and that's totally cool, dude. That's totally cool. Honestly, if I was in person with people, I usually wouldn't either. I don't try and like, I don't try and go looking for fights or anything like that, but you know what I mean? Like, we just gotta chill. I think we all just gotta chill. Behind the scenes says, don't let the world take your sense of humor. Dude, I want Theo Vaughn's sense of humor. You guys seen Theo Vaughn? Wait, did someone try to cancel me? Yeah, I've had plenty of people trying to cancel me so far. It's gonna keep on happening. It's part of life. When you're rich and famous, I'm not even that rich or famous, but, you know, when you get to a certain level, everyone's gonna try and, you know, take a piece of you and... you know, whatever. It's part of life, man. We're a bunch of fucking sad cunts. You know what I mean? They won't do shit to you on the street. You know what I mean? I get what you're saying. I have close friends that I can be completely open with. And honestly, that's enough, right? You got close friends you can talk openly with. That's really, 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 really nice. Yeah. That's really nice. Copy Kurt says, never a truer word said. Well done. Say what you want when you want. It's so important. It is so important. If you say the wrong thing, you get boycotted or whatever, that's fine too, right? That's just the community saying that you're a dickhead. You know what I mean? Since the world doesn't owe you a living, you don't owe the world any explanation. I love it, Davine. Bang on. Completely agree. Behind the scenes says, I'm going to like your live stream. You're a real human being. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Tom Brown says, lefty here and don't want anyone cancelled. Well, then you're not a fucking leftist, dude. You're probably a far-right fascist. If you don't want anyone cancelled, you're probably a far-right fascist. And your dad should probably be impeached. And the FBI raiding your house because you're that much of a terrible Nazi, right? That's how this works. If you don't want somebody cancelled, you're probably a fascist. Khan says, you come with nothing and you leave with nothing. Remember that. Yeah. That's important. That's definitely important. $115,600 right here for Bitcoin. I really want to see this thing pump up while we're live. Let's see if we can do it. I think if we don't get any kind of significant moves, we're probably going to start kind of ending this stream relatively soon here. We'll see how this goes here. I'm very, very interested to see how this does play out. Yeah. What does being left-footed or right-footed have to do with crypto? Wavy Gravy says, no to Constitution, wake up at 4 a.m., eat right, own guns. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, that's a good way to live life. No to Constitution, wake up at 4 a.m. 4 a.m.'s a little bit crazy. I think 5 a.m.'s alright, but, you know, it depends. Depends if you want to go full fucking, what's his name, Jocko up in here. Tom Brown says, bro, I'm going to vote green in the UK, so I'm definitely, like, left-wing. I mean, yeah, but... I don't know, like quasi left wing, you know what I mean? You're like halfway there. Theo Vaughn, we had this kid called Sammy when I was growing up who would trade controversial takes. Yeah, I love Theo Vaughn. Theo Vaughn's one of my favorite guys on the internet right now. I think didn't he like ask Trump if he fucking did cocaine or something, some crazy shit like that. I thought that was hilarious. I love that. I thought that was brilliant. Hajim says, I'm all for freedom of speech, but I think it should be limited to a certain extent. Well, then you're not for freedom of speech, sir. There's no such thing as freedom of speech with limits. It's, then you have the UK, and they'll arrest you for fucking being a little bit racist or something, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think there should be any limits on free speech, dude. Say whatever the hell you want. I mean, the reasonable limits of, like, you know, don't say fire in a cinema, and don't say you have a fucking, you know, explosive device on a plane, you know what I mean? Like, that's important, you know. Don't do the obvious stuff, but, you know, as far as free speech, you want to go and fucking suck Hitler off and do the most heinous shit you can think of when you speak, then fuck it, dude. Do what you want, you know what I mean? Nobody has to listen to you. You got a right to speak. You don't have a right to be, you know, listened to by everybody, you know what I mean? So, no limits, man. No limits. It's a very, 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 very bad thing to have limits on free speech. It's very bad, you know, because then you get psychos that try and police it, and they tell you that you can't criticize classes of people or whatever the deal may be. No. Freedom of speech is an absolute right, and treating it as anything less than that is dangerous. But yeah, we got a little bit of consolidation here happening for Bitcoin. I think this is Bitcoin's best chance at breaking up, so we'll see how this does end up going here. Lou says we're hitting 200k by Friday. Michael Saylor told me. Brilliant. Good stuff. John says I started a new sales job because this is dragging out so much I had to make dry powder. Behind the scenes says work trains us. I hope we're all financially free in the near future. Hell yeah, I can plus one that. I hope we're all here in this live stream. Every single one of you legends, every single one of you guys. I hope you're all very financially free, as close as possible to today in the near future. I would love that. That's amazing. Do I know the comedian Nick Mullen? If not, check him out. Yeah, I'll check him out. I don't know about a Nick Mullen. I know about Fuentes. I don't know about Mullen. Justin, Binance covers $283 million in user losses after its token depegged on Friday. Interesting. Which token? You talking about, like, Binance's USD or something? That's interesting. Very, very interesting. Let's see what we got on Twitter here as well. Binance is a nasty group. I'm going to agree with that. Theo was asked, what's your favorite type of weed? He was asked that, or he asked that to Trump? No, he asked something a lot more crazy to Trump. Weed is, like, kind of, like, okay to talk about these days, you know what I mean? But, like, you can't just ask the president if he's fucking taking a bump of coke, you know what I mean? That's just crazy. That's hilarious. It was funny the way he said. I can't even remember it. He's a legend. He's a legend. I used to be a pro wrestler. I want to be free. Enjoy the freedom to train the youth. Hell yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Very, very cool. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna give it a little bit more time, see if Bitcoin does anything. Otherwise, yeah, we will probably start wrapping up this stream relatively soon. Where am I from? I'm half Indian and half Paki, and I was born in the UK. Haven't been to either of the homelands, but and I don't plan on it either. But I have spent all my life in the West, basically, and I love it. I'm grateful for it. I'm proud of it. I love my country, the UK, England. I love it. Unlimited love for it. I'm very disappointed by it. I sound a teaspoon of Irish. I've never heard the term teaspoon. That's hilarious. Where am I now? I'm all over, dude. I'm always traveling, you know, Europe, USA, Dubai. Obviously, I own a house in, you know, so I'm all over. But, you know, like, I like to travel. I've been traveling for a long time. You know, like, I like to do road trips in Europe and stuff like that. That's like probably one of my favorite things to do. I'm all over the place, dude. Don't like to stay in one place too long. From the UK, yes, sir. I am from the UK. I am from the UK, and I love the UK, man. I love the UK. I love it. I love it in my head. I don't like the way it is now. I don't like the UK at all, the way it is now. But You know, the UK is more than one fucking shitty gay leftist government. You know, to me, you know what I mean? It's the UK is a lot more than that to me. So I'd love to see us get some of our country back. Khan says, I'm from Manchester, living in Dubai. Hell yeah, dude. Come to New York. You always have a place to say thank you. Thank you. I don't really go to New York that much these days, though. I don't know. I went to New York like last year, and I was like, this place is not it. I did go to 𝐿𝐷𝐸𝐿. 𝐿𝐷𝐸𝐿 was fantastic. If you do live in New York, you guys got to go to 𝐿𝐷𝐸𝐿. I mean, that is just one of the fucking dirtiest, most just best restaurants I've ever been to in my life, dude. I mean, the burgers are just insane. They got bone marrow with the fattest slices of toast you've ever seen in your life. It's probably normal for you Americans seeing such beautiful fat food, but my god, I loved it. And I would go back to New York just for that burger. They have one in Chicago too. I went to the one in Chicago. That was crazy. Chicago one's better, but New York is still pretty good. UK became Syria. I don't know. It's not that crazy, obviously, but it's pretty bad. The Friday live chat was awesome. Loved every second. Hell yeah, Jeff. Well, thank you very much. I enjoyed it too. Do I hate the Tories? Yes, I do. I think they're terrible. I like Liz Truss. I love Liz Truss. Liz Truss was our best chance at getting the UK back to its former glory. But the British population they were just not educated on what she was doing. They didn't know, and they were completely manipulated by the media and by the establishment that may be. They were just completely manipulated to hate her. And they had no idea. British people just don't know anything about economic policy. It's just a straight fucking fact. They just think tax the rich and put that money in the hands of the poor. And okay, that's how you get Dubai. You know what I mean? That's how you get Dubai. You take that fucking stupid attitude of taxing everybody into the ground, your people that make money are just going to leave. Psychedelic Smith says, with you on Truss, man. She had the right idea. She had all of the right ideas. She was a better Trump. She had everything right that Trump did, but she was better because she was British. And she was doing it the British way, respectfully, with poise. Liz Truss is the best shot we got at regaining the UK, and the British population just completely binned her off because of a bunch of fucking manipulation in the media and a bunch of manipulation in the markets. And it's just how it works. It's not surprising. You know, what she was doing would have restructured society in some ways, and that's why it was unacceptable to happen. That's why England lost the US due to taxes. Yeah, they did, but it was down to like a 2.4% tax on tea, right? Something minor. And now the US has got like 37 federal tax, and then, you know, like up to like 13, 14, depending on which state you're in on top of that. So they've gone full socialist anyway, with their taxes in America. It's not like the British oppression was the last time that America experienced it. UK does have a lot to fund and no assets owned by the government. Truss didn't outlast the lettuce, though. That was funny. Well, she didn't outlast the lettuce because she was ousted, and bankers and traders crashed the economy, and interest rates went up in response to what she was doing, which, to be fair, was probably reasonable. But again, it's just a completely, you know, like black hole of just, it was just a void of intelligence for the British public that had no idea what Liz Truss was doing, and then obviously, you know, because they're all easy to manipulate. And it's not a British thing. Everybody in the world is easy to manipulate. You could be British, American, Australian. You could be from fucking Africa, Asia, anywhere in the world. You know, the people are always easy to manipulate. It's not hard. There's systematic ways to do it, and they've been doing it for a long time. So, that's what they did when Liz Truss was in, you know? And yeah, she didn't outlast the lettuce. It's because they fucking, like, basically, like, formed a fucking corporate coup d'etat on her. That's basically what happened. It was a fucking like corporate coup that ended up happening. And what can you do against that, you know? Like, she's not gonna like mobilize the fucking army, you know, or something to you know what I mean? She just had to step down peacefully. Bless her. Bless her. She's better than what we deserved. I do feel that. UK is very behind in tech. That's why our economy is in the gutter. Of course, man. I mean, shit. We got some of the smartest people in the world. We got some of the best universities in the world in the UK, and we can't do shit these days. We can't do shit these days. There's nothing the UK does that leads the world in anything these days. Nothing. Her chancellor shorted the market? That's kind of crazy. I didn't know about that. But, you know, continues to paint the same picture. She was surrounded by traitors. She was surrounded by traitors. Taxes in the US in the 60s and 70s were very high and they did very well. Interesting. Is that true? How did that work? I'm curious, Tom, about how you're like on the side that you are, but you're also in crypto, right? Like crypto is like very like free market principles and, you know, like basically everything that the left isn't. But you love the idea of high taxation redistributing wealth. So what's that about? Because that's interesting. Khan says, I used to live in California. It's 100 times better than Manchester. I mean, dude, yeah. I think a lot of places are 100 times better than Manchester, but California, you can't even compare it. Can't even compare California. Okay, see, this is what I was saying. I was explaining this to a couple of friends, you know, because we were talking about, you know, why a lot of people are moving out of the UK to a place like Dubai, but in America, you got a lot of people living in communist states like California, and they don't leave. And it's like, well, see, we got the same downsides. You know, California and the UK, they got the same downsides, largely speaking. You know, just absolutely fucking ass-backwards government that doesn't do anything properly. Very, very dangerous to the people, so on and so forth. But why do people stay in California, and why do people leave the UK? And the reason they leave the UK is, first of all, you know, because we can. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to pay taxes to the UK if we leave, but Americans do. But secondly, because California has reasons that keep you in. They have pull factors. They have reasons that keep you inside the state. Like the weather, like the climate. I mean, weather and climate's the same thing. Like the geography and the sectors. Dude, if you work in tech, you know what I mean? You got a little bit of Florida, you got a little bit of Texas, but it's really just Silicon Valley. So, you know, it depends on what kind of sector you're in and stuff like that. But that's why people don't end up leaving states like California. Because, yeah, you got all the same downsides, but at least you have upsides to make it worth it. It might not even be worth it. It just might not, it just might be like too hard to leave. It's like not worth, you know, leaving in that sense. Cali is a big state. There are red governments everywhere. I mean, yeah, all of California's, you know, red outside of the coastal cities, you know, but the coastal cities are where everybody lives. You know, you got a lot of red counties in California, and some of them are very red. God bless. You know, good for them. They got their heads screwed on. But, you know, what are you going to do? They're redrawing the maps anyway, you know, same as Texas. So, you know, but California was 44% Republican. In this recent vote, it was 44 or like 42 something. It was close to being a swing state, man. California's so amazing, dude. Houses are insanely beautiful. Yeah, they're nice. The weather's fantastic. You can compliment California all day long, you know. But you can't do that for Manchester. You can't do that for London, Birmingham, fucking anywhere in the UK, really, unless you're like Northern England or Scotland or somewhere cool. You know what I mean? But even then, you're still in the UK. You're still in a completely ass backwards socialist country. At least you got the best time zone in the world. That's pretty cool. I'm in Texachusetts. That's hilarious. Texachusetts. I've never heard that one. Michael says, yeah, and we had the Vietnam War and inflation of the 70s, and the EPA ruined the American muscle cars of the 60s and 70s. Do people still poop in the street in California? I'm not sure, dude. Do they? Tom Brown, I'm a social liberal and want things funded, but yeah, I think I'm probably growing economically more middle ground, but I have a need for the NHS, so I need that funded, and I see a logic in people giving back. I agree with you on that. You know, my mom got cancer when she was in the UK, and, you know, like, we were broke when she had cancer, man. I was 13 years old. I wasn't making money. Like, we had nothing back then. And, you know, the fact that, you know, the NHS existed fucking saved my mom's life. I don't know how that would have worked if we were in a country like America. You know, it was crazy. So, I mean, I'm so grateful that we have the NHS, and I consider myself extremely, extremely pro-capitalist, extremely pro-free market, extremely fucking pro-free speech. Basically, everything the U.S. Constitution is, because those are the same ideals the West has in Europe. We just never fucking codified them. You know, I'm extreme in that sense. You know, just max freedom for everything, and small government and all that good stuff. But I am very socialist in one way, and it's NHS. I do think we should have universal health care. Sorry to hear that, Sammy. God bless your mother. Thank you. My mom's still alive, and she's very healthy now. Alhamdulillah, she's very healthy now. So, yeah, she's good. And the NHS saved her, and I love the NHS for it, and we need an NHS. I think every country should have, I don't know. But does Dubai have an NHS thing? Too far right. We don't get an NHS. I don't know about Dubai. I'm pretty sure there is some sort of like free at the point of service, especially for like urgent stuff. I'm pretty sure. I'm not super sure on it, but the good thing about Dubai is, you know, obviously you're going there if you're making money, and then you got a health insurance package. My health insurance at my age of like 24 is like it's not expensive. I mean, it is. It's really expensive, but you know, you're also bear in mind in Dubai, you're not paying taxes, right? So I don't know, but it was fine. It was moderate. And I got like a pretty like big plan as well. You know, like I wanted coverage like international. Dubai has NHS for Emiratis only, but Khan says Dubai is free for emergencies, and I'm pretty sure that's what I heard as well. Because I think I know of somebody that needed like emergency care, and they just fucking took care of that person, and then they were out, and there was no bill or something like that, which is beautiful. I mean, you know, universal healthcare is pretty important. Now, obviously, it gets complicated when it's like, okay, well, like you're a fucking like, you know, degen that like let your whole body go to waste, and now you're clogging up the system, kind of thing. That's not great, right? You know, smokers dealing with lung issues, for example. You know, should the public be responsible for that? That's a different discussion, and I don't really have a firm opinion on it. But you know, yeah, free healthcare is fantastic. You need police, you need ambulance, you need fire. You know, you need the basics, but beyond that, man, I mean, you know, there's nothing the government can do more effectively and efficiently than the private sector. And you don't want the government doing this work. You know, I mean, I remember when the floods happened in Dubai, there was this massive mobilization of private fucking residents, dude, that just went out and were distributing meals or whatever to people that needed them. And that's what charity looks like. You know, the government definitely helped out in the UAE as well, but the people did a lot too. And that happens, you know, and you have more space to do that when you're not getting taxed up the fucking ass either. So I think it's important. I think it's really, really important. Am I going to have children at some point in my life? Hell yeah, dude. I'm going to have a lot of kids. I'm going to have as many kids as I can, God willing. Hell yeah. Like minimum 5, hopefully. Most countries in the world have universal healthcare free at the point of use and no NHS. Yeah, I have noticed that. Yeah, and that's good. That's really, really important. I just think that, like, you know, even if you got like a slow thing, call it like an ear problem or whatever, you know, you just shouldn't be like choosing between your bills and like your health, man. Like, we're better than this. We're a rich society now everywhere. I mean, I'm talking about the West, but you know, like, I don't know. I don't think it's right. I don't care who you are. You know what I mean? Like, you should be able to get your fucking, you know, health problems sorted out at least. It's a gift. I grew up with this. It was just a thing in the UK, man. Like, it's just a thing. And yeah, all my European followers watching right now, the Canadians, the Aussies, whoever's awake right now, you know, you're going to know that. I mean, you know, it's not even something you think about, you know, that you might have to pay for healthcare. It's actually kind of crazy, you know, that it's different in other parts of the world. Honestly think that I'm more left than I think, and that you're more right than you think. I mean, I don't think I'm left wing at all. You know, like I said, it's just healthcare, which is a pretty left wing stance. I'll admit, I'll concede that's a pretty left wing stance. But, you know, like socially and everything else, I'm not left wing at all, at all. You know what I mean? Like, let the gays get married and do what they want to do, all that shit. But, like, you know, fucking leave it there. You know what I mean? Like, what's this fucking LGBTQ trash we've been fucking force-fed for these last few years? It's fucking nonsense, man. You know what I mean? Just fucking leave people alone. Let them do what they want to do. That's my take on this stuff. Kai Dragon, take care, dude. Thank you for tuning in. Good to see you here. I know you don't like our political sections, but I'm glad that you joined us anyway. Great free healthcare in the Air Force. Yeah, I mean, if you work for the, you know, for the armed forces, you're going to do very, very well. Why is healthcare a human right, but food isn't? No one is proposing free food for everyone. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think food is a lot less expensive than healthcare. That's probably why I take it a lot more seriously. Being more left isn't entirely left-wing, though, just center ground. But I don't think I'm center. I think I'm, like, quite fucking conservative, dude. I'm quite conservative. Free McDonald's would be nice. That's kind of crazy, dude. UK is in so much debt. More taxes incoming. Yeah, it looks like it, dude. You got 4 more years of a Labour government, you know. So, a debt-based society should be able to say we will put this debt through things that make society better. What's going on? Is the market recovering? I mean, we're watching it right here. I'm keeping an eye on it. Bitcoin's just hanging out here. Basically, I'm just staying live until we see this break one way or the other. And I really hope that it does break to the upside here. It's definitely got the setup for it. I feel like if I go off stream, it's going to pump like within a few minutes. You know, that's kind of why I'm hanging out here for a minute. You know what I mean? Bitcoin already recovered. Your alts did it. Dude, 𝐂𝐥𝐿, you're such a savage, bro. I like it. I like it. Honestly, like when I was reading like political definitions, I was like, I'm a liberal. You know what I mean? Like I just want everyone to be completely free to do whatever the hell they want. But you know, when you start bringing that gay shit into schools or whatever the hell it is, that's when it's a problem. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like where I stand on these things. The last 2 times it dumped, Sammy, when you stayed on stream. Well, I'm going to stay on stream for a little bit longer anyway, because I do want to see how this ends up resolving. %8 of people employed in the UK produce food are in NHS and civil construction. We've got a comment saying that stars run the world. Stars run the world. 𝐂𝐥𝐿𝐴 sounds like Ben Cowan. I can see that. I can see that. My property in Dubai is a villa. Yeah. It's a nice one. I'm happy with it. I'm proud of it. Am I ever going back to Call of Duty after the Battlefield experience? I mean, I'm probably going to buy Black Ops 7. I don't know. I'm probably gonna buy it. I don't know. I bought most of the COD games. I had a big gap. You know, I think like when I really started to make money for the first time, I stopped playing Call of Duty. But I'm kind of back to it a little bit. James says I could be his kid. He's been all over in the military. maybe, bro. I don't know. I think I know my parents though. I'm pretty familiar with who my parents are actually. Do you have profit targets or a selling plan into the bull run? No, not really. I'm just gonna weigh it based on what I see as it comes. I don't really want to make targets now. I do push people to do it because you know most people do struggle with taking profits in the markets. But you know personally, I trust myself. I'm very good at taking profits. I do it quite well, quite religiously almost. So. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to be taking profits when I think the time is right. And I'll tell you guys. I'm definitely going to be telling you guys about that stuff as it does evolve as well. So, no worries on that either. 𝐂𝐥𝐿𝐴 says, Bitcoin is just better. If you were 5x long on this drop, you would have been fine. Even if you longed from all-time high, Bitcoin protects your money. Yeah, I do agree with that. But, dude, Battlefield 6 is fun. Battlefield 6 is fun. I was playing that quite a bit yesterday. And, well, not even that much. But it's good. It's actually really, really fun. Especially if you got people to play with. You know, you got a good squad with you. You know, one that works in a team, competent teammates. You don't even need to be that competent. It's fun. It's really, really fun. As long as your team works together, it's really, really fun. I love Battlefield. Battlefield's really good. I've always enjoyed Battlefield. You know what I mean? I've always been more of a COD guy. But Battlefield's good. But yeah, as for like profit targets or anything, not really, because I gotta see how the market, you know, kind of moves when it gets to some of those price levels. You know what I mean? Like I could have a price target at like 240,000, but you know, like let's say we get up to like 220 and it looks like the shit's got way more room to go and it's just consolidated for 7 months. I can't sell at 240 then. You know what I mean? Like it looks like it's gonna go a lot higher to like maybe 280 at that point or something. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that. What time frame? I mean, you know, I'm usually analyzing the, you know, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the 1 day, the 1 week, only those time frames. I look at the 1 minute for fun with you guys on stream, but you know, I don't do this like as any part of my, you know, actual like real trading or investing at all. I just don't. But Bitcoin's holding really well here, man. I mean, it looks like it really wants to go. It looks like it really, really wants to go. Peter says, thank you for your time, Sammy. You're the man. Hell yeah, dude. Thank you. You're the man, dude. Thank you for tuning in. 50-day moving average sitting at 101k. That's the line in the sand. I mean, it could be, but I think we're fine well below 101 as well, dude, to be honest. Where do I predict crypto prices in 2 weeks? I have no fucking clue, mate. Your guess is as good as mine. There's no way you can guess what's going to happen in 2 weeks. You got to guess tons of things that happen before that. We don't even know what traditional finance's real open is going to look like tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I got no idea. Call of Duty would identify as left? Yeah, and that's why they're failing. That's why it's a game full of fucking losers, fam. You ever jump on the fucking live chat in Call of Duty these days? It's just a bunch of degenerates, man. They're like the lowest lows of society playing video games like that. I'm not even surprised. But I tell you what, I bet a lot of the Call of Duty players would actually be right wing. $4 maybe a cup and handle. Yeah, I see that. I see that right here. This is on the 1 hour, but it is here. I don't really believe in cup and handles, especially on a time frame like this, though. I don't think this is real, but it is still the same pattern. 19 billion in liquidations is so bullish. I know, right? I know, right? And the people that are denying it are the same people that have been wrong about everything this entire bull cycle, so I'm not losing sleep over them denying it. You know what I mean? I want them to deny it. Shit, if they agreed with me, I'd be like, oh my god, I might be like, you know what I mean? Like, I might be like on the side of retail here on this one. Every other liquidation event, massive bull run. Yeah, absolutely. We covered it. We covered it. Again, for those of you that missed this 38-minute video, it went out, I'm pretty sure it was just yesterday. Go ahead and check it out. This was a really important video, and I literally showed you every single mass liquidation event in crypto since 2020. I showed you every single one, and I showed you how the market responded to it. If you've been watching this live stream so far, watch this video. It's more important than anything we've covered in the live stream. And same with this video. This one's also really, really important. Watch them both. Definitely start with this one. Put that shit on in the background. If you feel like your time's too scarce and you don't have time to watch it, just put it on in the background. But you do want to watch the first 5-10 minutes at least, because we are showing you the exact moves that happened during previous liquidation events and how the market ended up faring as a result of them. So go watch that video ASAP if you've missed it. And definitely watch this one as well if you missed this one. This one just went out a couple of hours ago, so that's really, really important. Eric Trump has literally called every crash this year by saying buy the dips. Yeah, he says buy the dips, and then his dad makes the dips, right? It seems like that's the way this is going. Hajim says probably more than 19 billion in liquidations because it doesn't include Aster, which had more volume than Hyperliquid and other newer perps. Yeah, that's interesting. Anthony says, as all money in the world is based on debt and the US car loan and housing debt is decreasing and price is an indication of money supply, are people about to lose everything? Hey man, short answer, I think yeah. Honestly, I didn't want to talk about something like that today, but you brought it up, so fuck it, let's go. This is honestly like one of the more depressing conversations we can have here, but you know, let's have it anyway because it's real. What I do want to say before we get into this, ladies and gents, is if you are enjoying this stream so far, definitely smash up those likes. I know that you can only see my face right now, you can't see the charts, but I'm watching the charts. If something happens, I'll put the charts back on right now. The Bitcoin chart on the 1 minute time frame just looks like this. So if nothing changes here, then I'll just keep my face cam on. But King Wigger says top-notch analysis comes from people like Sammy, Ben Cowan, and MDX Crypto. Hell yeah, dude. Thank you very, very much. Kramer said to buy crypto. Yeah, it seems like that's why this thing went down. Shout out to Dano Crypto. What's up, dude? Welcome to the live stream. We got a question here from Anthony. The question is a very serious question. It's a little bit somber, but we're going to answer it anyway. I just want to say, if you are just tuning in or if you haven't already, definitely do smash up those likes. Double check that you are subscribed. We're live through all of the volatility here, breaking down everything, taking your questions during all of these events here. Basically, the way you can just, you know, keep this in your head is that if there's something crazy going on, you can be rest assured that we're probably live talking about it as the market's playing out, and you're going to get a very reasonable, sensible, grounded, you know, non-emotional kind of read on the markets here. So I think that's pretty good. But Anthony's question says, as all of the money in the world is based on debt and U.S. car loan housing debt is increasing, you know, basically, are people about to lose everything? Now, I think, like, where this comes in for me is, like, there's a lot of debt. Call it cars, call it houses, whatever. Those are going to be two of the biggest ones, especially houses. And that's going to be held by people that are working jobs, right? Ideally. But, you know, job prospects are getting a lot worse. And as a result, income prospects are getting a lot worse. And so I think that's going to mean that a lot of people that own homes currently, you know, could find themselves in a position where they cannot continue to make their payments every month on their mortgage. And that's going to be a really big problem as we enter, you know, a bunch of people that had fixed rates now coming off those fixed rates, entering variable rates as well. It's just going to hurt those people even more. So, you know, I think we're in a very, 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 you know, potentially dangerous time as a result of that, because if you are going to see a lot of people failing to make their payments on their houses, then what does that mean? You're talking about foreclosures, man. You're going to start seeing foreclosures in the markets. And, You know, like, I mean, and I don't see how we get out of this, right? Like, we need some way for people to just continue to have income to make their mortgage payments. And if that's not happening, then, I mean, like, what can you do? You know what I mean? Like, you will just have to see these houses coming down in prices as a result of a massive, you know, oversupply entering the market. And I hate it, dude. It's so sad, but I mean, how does this get better at this stage? You know what I mean? Like, it's not like people are becoming more needed in this world at all. You know, like, humans are becoming less and less needed in this world for, like, everything. I mean, you know, it's like a crazy thing to say. I don't like saying it, but it's true. It's just the truth. And it is what it is, man. And you know, what is it? Honestly, I don't fucking know, dude. I don't know. I haven't, you know, I haven't studied enough macroeconomics. Nobody knows, dude. Like, nobody's seen this happen. We've never seen this happen. I mean, one thing that's clear is the social classes will freeze, right? I mean, if you're rich now, you'll be rich maybe forever. And if you're not rich now and you're not rich very soon, then you might never be rich based on what we're seeing. Your only chance literally might be, you know, speculative markets. I mean, we're seeing tons of, you know, sections of the population entering sports betting games now and things like that. And, you know, and that's how people are kind of keeping busy to make a buck these days. You know what I mean? And that's just kind of what it is. So, you know, but no one's ever really seen this shit play out. It's the first time. You know what I mean? So I really don't know where this shit's going. I really don't know. It could be that there's a massive little bit of, like, government intervention and debts start getting paid off. It could be something like that. Or it could be that, you know, you're just shit out of luck. You know, if you were just kind of not old enough, basically, to have made your money earlier in life, then, yeah. I do think, yeah, we're going to start seeing some of these WEF prophecies kind of playing out here. Where basically, you know, everyone's going to own nothing. And be happy with it, you know. And it looks like that's kind of exactly where society's been headed for a while, unfortunately. Hajim says, after your advice earlier this year, I unfollowed a lot of people, and only traders I follow now are you, Peter Brandt, and Francis Hunt. Well, good for you, sir. You did the right thing. Most people are not worth listening to. You picked the few that are legit. You pick the few that, you know, during market crashes like Friday can keep their shit calm. I mean, by the way, if you were live on that stream with us on Friday, we identified everything that happened within a couple of minutes of the dump starting. Literally, just go back on that live stream. It's obviously still up. You can go back and watch it on this YouTube channel. Within minutes of the dump starting, I told you guys that Trump is probably doing this to soften the impact on the markets, and that he's doing this with the view that the market should be in a better place to absorb this news come Monday. And we have the futures opening that's already proved what I said. We had the entire weekend of crypto price action, again, proving what I said, that these markets have stayed very calm after that drop. And that's because we just have our heads screwed on this YouTube channel. We're not fucking idiots. I've been doing this for a very, 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 very long time. And as a result, I can get behind the microphone and I just know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And good for you, dude, for unfollowing the people who can't do that. A lot of people are just hype men and they're not good for your wallet. You know, you want to be able to listen to people that get this shit right consistently, especially during the really tough times. I think that's really, really important. Daveen says, I was live. Who else was here with Sammy on Friday? Yeah, let me know in the live chat, ladies and gents. If you were here on that live stream on Friday when that massive crash happened, were you watching that live stream and you're here today? Let me know. Just drop a comment saying I was here. I saw your live stream. I'm curious to see how many. I know some of you guys are probably driving or something, might not be able to kind of type a comment. That's totally fine. But a shout out to those of you that are driving, by the way, listening to these live streams while you know, drive to work or the gym or whatever. That's great. That's how you want to be able to use this content. You know, you don't just want to, you know, sit around all day, dude. Sometimes we go live at weird times. If you just happen to kind of, you know, be chilling, then hell yeah, we got a bunch of people that were here. You saw all that stuff playing out. I'm glad that you guys were here with me. Hell yeah. We got Barry BKT. What's going on, dude? I'm always here, Sammy. Dude, you're a legend. We got Barnett Family Videos saying, of course I was here. Doji was here. Ya was here. AJ was here. Tom Brown. What's going on, legends? You absolute legends. You were here during all of it. And you saw how this stuff played out. I mean, you know, we were analyzing it in real time. We knew exactly what was up within minutes. Within minutes. S. Parker says, I was here and subscribed that night. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. You know a real one when you see one. I respect it, man. I respect it. You know what I mean? We saw the stuff as it was playing out straight away. I've been doing this for over 8 years, man. This shit's not new anymore. You know, 8 years, you would hope I can see this stuff. You would hope that I'd be able to tell what's going on within minutes after 8 years in the game. Otherwise, what the hell have I been doing for 8 years? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Salam from Kuwait. What's going on, Kuwait? Welcome to the live stream. You and Benjamin Cowan are my guys. Hell yeah. I'm honored to be in the same sentence as Benjamin Cowan. I don't think I'm as good as Cowan either. But thank you for the beautiful comment. That's very, very nice of you. Nicholas was here. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Ahmed says, what do I think is going to happen next? I mean, we're... Dude, that's the whole point of this live stream. Maybe rewind the stream, but I think we're probably pumping up from here. I'm still watching the chart. Like I said, nothing's really happening. We've made a tiny move up here. It really looks like Bitcoin is going to pop. It really looks like Bitcoin is going to pop. It's just continuing to kind of move in that way right here, so I'm definitely liking the look of that. Yo, we're 11 likes away from 300. Can we hit 300 likes, ladies and gents? Can we hit 300 likes? Let's see, let's see. Ahmed's in a short from 113k. Good luck with that, sir. I hope that does play out well for you. Noor says, Salam, any alt news? No, not really, dude. I don't really think that we're, yeah, we are coiling up, Wigger, yeah. I feel like saying your name's gonna get me in trouble, dude. But that's fine. Free speech, innit? Alt news, yeah, nothing really, dude. I think that, you know, that they're just in good places overall. Let's get some likes. Hell yeah. Oh, we're already above 300, you legends. That was quick. Thank you all very much. Thank you all very much. That's so nice of you guys. Bitcoin Atlas says, you're in my top 3 together with Cowan. Long-term TA, he is better, but psychology, you are the man. Follow you since 2019. Thanks. Yeah, Cowan is definitely a step above me in long-term analysis, but yeah, I feel the exact same way as what you said, actually. I don't really know anyone that analyzes the psychology of markets as well as I do. I mean, there are a few, but they're not really on YouTube, you know? And I'm definitely glad that I'm good at that. And I've been, you know, and I've explained this to a lot of people, you know. A lot of people are like, you know, so like, okay, you're a trader, you know, how did you learn it? And I was like, well, I learned it by studying human psychology. It's the only thing I studied when I was a teenager for my entire teenage life. And if you're good at human psychology, then the markets are just human psychology at scale. So you're in home turf at that point. What's the fear and greed is at 27 right now. It's at 27. It's at 24 yesterday. We're going to see an update. Probably we might see an update right now, actually. Let's go ahead and take a look. I don't know when this thing resets. Yeah, we got an hour left. I don't know if we'll still be live in an hour. We'll see. We'll see. If we are still live, then I'll definitely cover that with you guys in an hour from now. How many trades on a monthly basis? Probably 0 on average, dude, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not kind of, like, scrambling for trades these days. And I don't think there have been safe trades for a while, literally since July. You know, I changed my trading strategy up in July. And I was so excited for it, man. It's such a good trading strategy, this new one I have now. It's so much better than any trading strategy I ever did. I changed it in July, and since July, I've had no trades. Which is such a shame. Okay, this is an interesting question. How did I study human psychology? Look, there's so many different things you can do. For markets, you're doing slightly different work. But, you know, like general human psychology, I think one of the best ways you can study it is just looking at people who've maxed it out, you know, and looking at how they behave. I'm talking like study presidents, study, you know, like very, very, very successful people that had to be socialized. Honestly, study fucking Epstein, dude. Study Jeffrey Epstein. You know what I mean? Like, study people like that. And ask yourself, why are they doing what they're doing? Why are they doing it now? Why are they doing it in this way? You know what I mean? Like everything, their footsteps, their body posture, their tonality, their words, their actions, when they turn up to things, why they don't turn up, you know, to certain things. Fucking analyze everything. You know what I mean? And just ask why? Be curious. I mean, kids are great at this. You got a kid looking at this shit early in life, it's GG, dude. It's GG. Kids are great at this. Wigger says W. Epstein. All right, dude, I'm pinning that. I'm pinning that comment. Fuck it. Fuck it. If you're gonna be unhinged, bro, I'm matching you. If we're going unhinged in the live chat, I'm matching you right there, dude. Fuck it. That's getting pinned. You earn a lot of pins on this on these live streams, dude. That's hilarious. Zero says, Sammy, regarding U.S. taxation, I live in beautiful Miami and I pay 0 state income tax and federal tax is 29. Oh, I thought it was 37. It's 29%? Hey, 29%'s not bad. 29%'s totally reasonable, man. Are you sure? 29%? That's really good. And then as far as studying human psychology for the markets, you know, I think one of the best resources for that is going to be Market Wizards. It's always linked at the bottom of every description here. Market Wizards right here. You got the US and UK Amazon link. This is the best book I've ever read in my life, dude, you know, for trading, for markets. And it really makes a big difference. So, yeah, I love that. I love that. Shout out to Behind the Scenes, making some spaghetti, watching the live stream. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Trump pardon Diddy for the boys. All right, we're just dialing it up and up and up. I don't know if I can keep matching you guys being on YouTube, but I'm happy to do the Epstein comment. I think my upper limit for now on YouTube is going to be Epstein. I don't know if I want to push further than that right now. Fuck Epstein, dude. What a fucking psycho. Wasn't he like worshipping some sort of death god or something? What a fucking psycho, dude. But actually, I'm sure Epstein was innocent because there was nobody trafficked. Nobody got trafficked anywhere. There was no underage, like, there was no pedophilia going on, was there? No, it was all fake. The tapes don't exist. The files don't exist. Kash Patel is a fully trustworthy head of the FBI, just like every other head of the FBI, isn't he? There's no corruption going on there. There's nothing suspicious at all. Nothing to notice. There's nothing to notice. Don't be silly. Does anyone buy watches? Is there a profit to make there? I'm sure a lot of people buy watches in this live chat, dude. But, you know, I think that market's kind of cooled off a little bit. Can I tell the support level of U.S. oil? Let's take a look at U.S. oil. U.S. oil. Which one, though? Interesting that there's a big drop, huh? And it's open. Let's push this to the side. Put Bitcoin right here. Bitcoin's just not doing anything, fam. This shit's gonna keep me streaming all day, all night. I don't really know, dude, for oil, and it's like not the easiest chart in the world to analyze either. It looks like it's kind of at support right now, but this is such a long-term chart, man. You can't even really trade this. You can invest in this, but I don't know. Hajim says, the fact that people think that Trump would even pardon some of those people shows he's also mastered human psychology. Sham says, boxers all buy watches for some reason. I mean, it's just what you do, innit? When you're in certain circles and you make money, there's like a set, like, you know, you buy the cigars, you buy the suit, you buy the watch, you buy the Lambo, you buy the apartment in Dubai downtown. You know what I mean? Like, there's like a certain, like, cookie cutter fucking, like, you know, process that people end up following when they make a bag in certain parts of the world, like Miami, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta go to the club, pour some fucking champagne on your watch. You know, like, a lot of these people don't really live particularly unique lives. They just kind of do what they're supposed to do because they're all deeply insecure like everybody else. And that's why they end up getting into these things, isn't it? How much longer will gold rally? I don't know, dude, but I think for a while. I think it could go for a while. I don't see any reason for it to stop. You know what I mean? Jim says, on the contrary, if Trump pardons Diddy, I'm moving to California. Why is that, dude? Why is that? Is he paving the road for you to go work on something in Cali, or what's the deal? King Wigger says Bitcoin's going to 1 million before 2026. That's in about 2.5 months, sir. But fair enough. Boxers are trying to get the most out of their career and time. Yeah, I mean, you know, they're just kind of opportunistic people in a sense. You know what I mean? It's because you always live in the scene. When you're a boxer, when you're an NFL guy, when you're a fucking influencer even, you live in the scene. And the scene is pretty one-dimensional. There's a set way to do things in the scene, and you have to do them. And it's sad as fuck. But it is what it is. I think if everybody lived the way they wanted to live, they'd be a lot happier. Because they wouldn't be fucking conforming to buying the things that you need to buy to keep up appearances. Well, I think we should go to visit 112k. I mean, you know, certainly could happen. I don't know, dude. I'm not sure on that one, though. Good evening, folks. Welcome to the live stream, my Brighton. What's up? Welcome. In all seriousness, check out the daily Ichi. We did check out the daily Ichimoku cloud, and I forgot what it said, so we'll look at it again. Right here on the daily, and yeah, we got support right here. We overshot it a little bit with these candle closes. I'm not worried about the wick, but seems like it's working for us. It's definitely building, getting a little bit stronger. Here's Bitcoin sliding down right here on the minute time frame. So we'll see how that goes. Ichimoku is so powerful. Dude, I know, right? It's such a brilliant indicator. It's so good. And if you guys want to learn how to use the Ichimoku cloud, all you got to do is type in Ichimoku 4Flies right here. Type that into the YouTube search bar like that, and you will see, bam. I made 2 videos, one from 7 years ago, one from 3 years ago, and you can watch the one from 3 years ago because this one's a little bit embarrassing. I was so young. I was so young when I made that video. In January, I'm coming to live in Dubai. Hell yeah, dude. If you guys are looking to move to Dubai, hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. I can get you guys set up in the country, get your visa and all that good stuff. Wow, there's a little bit of a dump there for Bitcoin. Wasn't happy staying up in that range. Didn't end up continuing to move higher. Reggie Backy says, sorry, Sammy, just got here. No problem. Have I mentioned the CME gap? No, I haven't. I don't know where it is. I'm not really too bothered about it. Bitcoin's sitting at $114,970 right now. Let's see what it ends up doing if we get any kind of movements here or if it just kind of figures itself out. Optimus Prime says, make sure you pause the video on the settings on that Ichi video too. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Optimus says it's a brilliant video. I agree. It is a very, very good video indeed. King Wigger says, it's interesting how Bitcoin is interacting with this level. Yeah, I think it is, but I think we're also just analyzing it on the 1 minute time frame, so it looks like something bigger than it actually is in real life. But, you know, if we look at this on the hourly time frame, then, you know, we're just kind of charging higher. We might have to pull back a little bit, but, you know, down to where? I guess 112 does make sense, honestly, as a potential pullback zone, but I think for sure, you know, we're really trying to get up to that resistance, and I would like to see it happen today. Maybe, I don't know if it happens on this live stream or not. We'll see. Depends how much longer we stay live for here, but I would like to get going relatively soon. I mean, yeah, probably would be good. David, I don't know how to say your name, dude. Sorry, David, I think. Best channel on YouTube, 4Fly, speaking the truth and showing all the scenarios. Hell yeah, dude, that's what we do. It's important to do that because as traders, as real legitimate full-time traders, investors, as I am, you know, you have to be open to all possible scenarios. You have to explore them, you have to assign a probability to them, and then you have to even potentially put some money behind an idea as well. So it's really important to do this thoroughly. It's really, really important. Yo, how many people have we got on the live chat living in Dubai? Let me know in the live chat how many people we got in Dubai in this live stream right now. Because, yeah, it is very late in Dubai right now. It's 3 a.m., so definitely not early. But, I mean, Dubai's a nocturnal city, man. You know what I mean? Like, I've had phases where I was waking up at, like, 8 a.m. I'm sorry, sleeping at 8 a.m., you know, some crazy stuff like that. Because you got 24/7 hookah bars and shit, so you can just kind of hang out. You know, that's what I like to do. Take me back to 113K, I'll close and be a happy man. You sound like a gambler, so you need to be careful. You need to be very, very careful. You sound like you're gambling. You're going to put yourself in that position again, I guarantee it. My Brighton says I could never live in Dubai, presumably because you want to smoke. I get it. But what I will say is that, you know, like there are a lot of stoners I know that ended up living in Dubai, and obviously they don't access weed out, you know, in Dubai, but I mean, you're fine, dude. You'll realize that you're not as hooked on that shit as you think you are. I don't know. Some people have real withdrawal symptoms. I don't really get it, but too hot, mate. I mean, it's pretty hot, but it's better than like a British winter. You know what I mean? Like at least you got the sun out and stuff like that. We got Dallas in the house. What's going on, Dallas? I'll try the Dubai chocolate with pistachio. It's pretty nice. Yeah, but you know, like if smoking is your reason for not moving to Dubai, I don't know, man. Like that's, you know. And it totally depends, you know what I mean? Like, I remember, like, being in the UK, like, it's fucking boring and shit, you know? Like, I get it. I get why people would just end up fucking smoking weed all day. But, you know, when you live in a place that's, like, genuinely better to be in, you might not even want it. I don't know. It's gonna be different for everybody, but you know, shit, everybody smokes these days, and everybody goes to Dubai these days, and everybody's fine. You know what I mean? It's just not a big deal. Oh, okay, chronic pain, diseases control my life, unfortunately. Okay, well, that's very different. Yeah, you said you're a medicinal user. Okay, well, you know, if you're a medicinal user, then yeah, you're not gonna get much movement out there. We are seeing a continuation of that drop here on Bitcoin right now, sitting at 114,950. So let's see where this ends up going over these next couple of minutes. David says, I used to live in London, not bad. Now I'm in South Africa and next Dubai. Yeah, that sounds pretty nice. Do I smoke cigars? No, I'm kind of just a hookah guy, shisha, you know what I mean? I like shisha. Ahmed says, I'm a lawyer in Dubai and I can tell you the consequences are not worth it. Hell yeah, dude, the consequences are really bad. Yeah, PSA, do not fucking smoke weed or do any illicit drugs in the UAE. You can drink in the UAE, it's enough. You'll be alright with being able to drink. If you really need to do something, just go to a bar, you know what I mean? But do not do illicit drugs in Dubai. It's a very, 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 very stupid idea. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. They take their laws seriously, yeah? A lot of us grew up in the West, and we think that, you know, you can fucking shit-talk a police officer or fucking get cute with people and not have consequences. It's not like that in the UAE. They respect authority out there. You must respect authority, you know, in the UAE. Really, really important. Just don't. Yeah, they don't joke there. No. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Just obey the laws. It's not hard to obey the laws in the UAE. I get it. A lot of people feel restricted there, but what happens if you get caught? I don't know. You're going to get locked up, dude. No questions. You're going to get locked up. I don't know how you wouldn't get locked up. Davine says, so at the end of the day, does it look like we're going to pierce through the resistance or get rejected? I mean, I don't think that the price action tells us either of those things yet, you know? Like, I don't know, but I'll tell you what, like, based on what I've seen from the S&P 500, based on what I've seen from basically the sentiment kind of wrapping up over the weekend, I think that the resistance shouldn't be too much of a problem. But, you know, I mean, again, it's still resistance, and resistance is resistance until proven otherwise, right? So, you know, we gotta stay reasonable about it. Ahmed says it's usually 4 months in jail and deported back to where you came from. So, you know, 4 months in jail for smoking a joint sounds fucking mad. Just don't do it. You know what I mean? Is it true there's a police and religion police? I don't know about religion police, but there's definitely police, and they're good. They're good. I've had a couple instances where I had to kind of deal with the police out there, and they're good. You know what I mean? I'm sure some of them are bad, just like everywhere in the world, but I didn't have bad experiences personally. And nobody I know had bad experiences with the police either. But I think that a big part of that is because nobody, like, really fucks around, you know what I mean? Like, there's not much of a FAFO culture out there. Am I interested in the Caspa chart? Not really, dude. Not really. There's so many altcoins, dude. I don't really have thoughts on them. I think, ladies and gents, we've been live for about 2.5 hours. I'm kind of up to my limit here for what I can do right now. I surely would have gotten speeding tickets in the UAE. Yeah, I got a few speeding tickets. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna be calling the stream here. So, thank you all very, very much for tuning in. Once more, I cannot stress it enough. Please, if you haven't done so already, go back and watch this video right here and this video right here in that order. Start with the pink one and then watch the yellow one. These videos are essential. You just play them in the background, especially this one, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot stress it enough. Because this one, we analyzed every single major liquidation event since 2020, and I showed you exactly what happened after it. And honestly, the results are going to surprise you. It's kind of crazy. Like, it's really crazy, but it's really bullish. So go ahead and check that stuff out if you haven't already. Shout out to Psychedelic Smith. Shout out to Lloyd Griffiths, Hajim, My Brighton, Wavy Gravy. Dude, thank you guys all very, very much. You guys are amazing. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been such a beautiful live stream. I'm very glad that I came on with you guys. And as you already know, we are going to be going through all of this volatility live in upcoming live streams whenever it hits. So if you've got that bell icon checked and all that good stuff, then you'll be getting access to all of that as well, which is absolutely fantastic. All right, ladies and gents, thank you all very much, and we'll see you all